Chapter 25:17. The Patriarch's orders. Jian Chen immediately frowned when he learnt about that. He could tell that the god kings of the clan were unable to keep the primordial realm experts at bay. Haven't you discussed this with Ming Dong? Jian Chen asked. He also understood that all primordial realm experts were proud and would possess a certain level of status even in peak clans. It was very difficult for them to bow down to cultivators who were weaker than them unless they possessed great backgrounds. However, although Jian Chen understood this, he would never allow the recruited primordial realm experts to flaunt themselves before his friends and the original members. Brother Jian Chen, can you think about it from our perspective? How can we go find Brother Ming Dong over something like this? Wouldn't that be a little child snitching to an adult? Moreover, Brother Ming Dong might not even be older than us. How can we swallow our dignity to do something like that? Mo Yen said directly. She felt wronged as well. Mo Yen, who harassed you? Jian Chen's face sank. Mo Yen had always held a special position in his heart. He treated her as his own sister, so he could not allow anyone to harass her. Mo Yen shook her head. I haven't been harassed, but quite a few people have rolled their eyes at me. There's just a portion of the primordial realm experts who are completely haughty. As long as they're present, we have no right to speak, or they'll immediately put on airs and say something like we have no right to interfere. It's infuriating. That Protector Shan in particular is the most arrogant, most haughty, and most vile person who goes overboard the most. Before Brother Ming Dong, he's as obedient as a servant, but once Brother Ming Dong leaves, he immediately begins to treat himself as the king of the world, looking down on everyone in the Tian Yuan clan. He doesn't even respect Sister Shiyu, arguing with her many times. If it weren't for the fact that this was the Tian Yuan clan, I even think he would lay his hands on her. Jian Chen's face sank when he heard that. He had never thought that something as ridiculous as that would happen in the Tian Yuan clan. A group of outsiders were actually stifling the important figures of the Tian Yuan clan. How could he allow that to happen? Mo Yen paused before saying through gritted teeth, and Protector Xiang is the person I loathe the most. He even harassed my great-grandfather. Yenner, don't say anything more. It's only a small matter. Mo Ling interrupted her as if there was something he was worrying about. In the past, Mo Ling was the ancestor of the Mo clan, as well as the only god of the Mo clan. Over the years, with the rapid development of the Tian Yuan clan, they no longer lacked cultivation resources. Coupled with the heavenly resources that Ming Dong had brought with him, Mo Ling's cultivation had increased significantly. He had become an overgod. In the divine kingdom of Ping Tian in the past, overgods were experts renowned throughout the entire kingdom, but he was nothing significant in the current Tian Yuan clan. Keep going, Jian Chen said. Mo Yen looked at Mo Ling and said angrily, Great-grandfather, are you still afraid of Protector Xiang? You might be able to endure the abuse from before quietly, but I can't. You're a true member of the Tian Yuan clan. Those primordial realm experts who joined are basically only guests. They're not true members. Why exactly should we let them take up so many benefits yet still have them harass us? Mo Yen became very emotional and said with even greater intensity, Brother Jian Chen, you have to help great-grandfather. In the past, because great-grandfather objected to Protector Xiang's suggestion of invading the Heavenly Moon Empire, he grabbed him by the neck and threw him out of the hall. How dare he? Jian Chen was furious. He stood up and slammed the throne. Send orders to immediately gather all the primordial realm experts here. No one is allowed to be late. That was the first order Jian Chen had passed down as patriarch after returning to the clan. He gave off a bold bearing as if he could not be denied. After all, he was no longer the same as before. He had groomed a sense of authority. He just never showed it normally. The patriarch's order spread through the entire clan in an instant. It was taken to all the primordial realm experts as quickly as possible by attendants. Of course, Su Ran was the exception. She possessed an extremely great status in the Tian Yuan clan, so she was not included. What? The patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan? Has Jianshan returned after having gone missing for so many years? What did you say? The patriarch, Jianshan, wants to gather all the primordial realm experts in the discussion hall? Does Jianshan think he's actually relevant and that he can order us around? If the patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan wants to gather us, why hasn't he come personally? We're mighty primordial realm experts, but he has only sent an attendant. How haughty of him. Does he think he's young Master Ming? If young Master Ming wanted to gather us, would obviously go as soon as possible, but as for Jianshan, just tell him I'm cultivating, and I don't have the time. At that moment, the voices of many primordial realm experts rang out in various places in the Tian Yuan clan. Most of them were displeased and did not take the matter too seriously. Afterwards, a few figures emerged from various places across the clan. They moved steadily, basically strolling towards the discussion hall. They were quite annoyed. A divine hall stood in another location of the Tian Yuan clan. It was a low-quality god artifact, belonging to a late infinite prime of the Tian Yuan clan, Protector Shan. At this moment, a burly, middle-aged man with heavy facial features sat in there cultivating. He frowned after receiving the news that Jianshan was gathering all the primordial realm experts in the discussion hall. I'm at a critical point in cultivation. I can't stop unless there's something extremely important. Just tell Jianshan I have no time, Protector Shan said coldly. He directly referred to Jianshan by his name, showing him no respect at all. Protector Shan, I've just received news that the Patriarch possesses hell water, the attendant outside the divine hall said softly. What? Hell water? Are you certain? Protector Shan's eyes narrowed, and he became overjoyed. Absolutely certain. All right then. Since he has hell water, I'll go. Hell water is good stuff. I need to hurry over as quickly as possible. I can't let Protector Shui and Protector Qi get to it first. Protector Shan suddenly stood up and shot towards the discussion hall. Chapter 25:18. Protector Shan. At the same time, a white-robed, middle-aged man with an ordinary appearance stood beside a pool of water in a quiet courtyard of the Tian Yuan clan. He stared at a golden turtle that moved through the pool slowly in a daze. The middle-aged man was one of the 3 late infinite primes of the Tian Yuan clan, Protector Shui. Protector Shui was a 7th heavenly layer infinite prime. Although his cultivation was not the greatest out of the 3, he received absolute respect in the Tian Yuan clan. They were all late infinite primes, but Protector Shui was different from Protector Shan and Protector Qi. He treated all the members of the Tian Yuan clan amiably. He was a primordial realm expert that was very easy to get along with. It was very difficult to sense the pressure of a primordial realm expert from him, and he did not put on any airs either. He did not possess the arrogance of the others. Not only that, but Protector Shui had also contributed the most to the Tian Yuan clan out of all the primordial realm experts who had joined. As a result, Protector Shui was deeply respected by the important members of the Tian Yuan clan. Protector Shui, the Patriarch, has sent orders for all primordial realm protectors to go to the discussion hall. At this moment, an attendant's voice rang out from outside the courtyard. Understood, Protector Shui said indifferently. He looked away from the golden turtle and focused in the direction of the hall. His gaze deepened. Jianshan has only just returned, yet he has sent orders to gather all the primordial realm experts. Although he's the Patriarch, the person that everyone actually listens to is Ming Dong. There's probably no one who's going to take him seriously as the Patriarch. Can he keep the situation under control like this? Protector Shui murmured. The light in his eyes flickered as he thought to himself, I have joined the Tian Yuan clan after all, and I've become a protector. Since the Patriarch is gathering everyone, it's best if I go. A protector is still a protector in the end. A protector cannot defy the Patriarch. Young master, properly heal here. We'll be very safe for now. They won't be able to find us. I will definitely find a way to reconstruct your soul and awaken you. Protector Shui looked at the golden turtle in the pool and said firmly. The golden turtle in the pool was only the size of a hand. Its eyes shone with a murky light as it moved around in the pool aimlessly. Its golden turtle shell was covered by some wondrous inscriptions. They were extremely profound, and they seemed to resonate with the ways of the world. It felt like traces of the ways had actually appeared on its golden turtle shell. Protector Shui waved his hand, and a formation immediately rose up, enveloping the entire water pool. With a flash, he directly made his way towards the discussion hall. Many primordial realm experts gathered in the discussion hall one by one. Out of the 18 recruited infinite primes, 15 showed up. The gathering of 15 primordial realm experts pressured the original members of the clan seated there. They all stood up and began to give up their seats willingly. At the very front of the discussion hall, closest to the Patriarch's throne, there were 3 seats placed in a row. The 3 seats were prepared for the 3 late infinite primes of the clan. In reality, the ordering of the seats had already been set in stone. All the late infinite primes had a seat that belonged to them because Ming Dong had held meeting like this many times in the past. They decided the ordering of the seats like that. Protector Shui and Protector Qi sat to the 2 sides, while the center seat was for Protector Shan. But now, Protector Shan's seat had been taken up by someone else. It had been taken up by Heiya. Protector Qi was an old man. He was short and skinny and basically a bag of bones. It was as if he did not have much time left in him. He seemed rather sinister. He saw Heiya in Protector Shan's seat and was slightly surprised. His lips curled up rather sinisterly, but he said nothing. He directly sat down in his seat and closed his eyes to rest. He directly ignored Jian Chen, who sat on the Patriarch's throne. He did not take him seriously. He only recognized 3 people in the Tian Yuan clan, and they were Ming Dong, Ming Xia, and Su Ran. He did not even take Shi Yu seriously despite her being the princess of the Shi Empire. When Protector Shui saw Heiya, his eyes narrowed as well. He glanced at Jian Chen on the throne deeply and could sense that the meeting this time probably would not be peaceful. The other primordial realm experts were also surprised when they saw where Heiya sat. They began to discuss with one another secretly. At this moment, Protector Shan arrived in the discussion hall. When he saw how someone unfamiliar had taken up his seat and that they were only a first heavenly layer infinite prime, he immediately became infuriated. He advanced towards Heiya step by step. His burly body seemed like a mountain, possessing immeasurable weight. There would be a heavy thud with each step, causing the entire hall to shake. "Who are you? Don't you know who this seat belongs to?" Protector Shan looked down on everyone and stared at Heiya with a piercing gaze. His eyes were filled with cold killing intent. Whether it be the original members of the clan or the other protectors, they all held their breaths. They wanted to see how Jian Chen would handle this matter. "He's Heiya. From today onwards, he sits there." Heiya said nothing. Instead, Jian Chen interjected from the throne. He sat there boldly as his voice was cold, possessing a sense of authority that could not be denied. Protector Shan suddenly directed his gaze at Jian Chen. His eyes were extremely piercing and pressuring. Chapter 25-19, The Temptation of the Hell Water. All the primordial realm experts were extremely surprised by Protector Shan's unexpected actions. Since when did Protector Shan become such an amiable person? After all, the person he faced right now was not young Master Ming, nor was it Senior Ming or Senior Su who were chaotic primes. In the Tian Yuan clan, Protector Shan would only swallow his dignity and lower himself before those 3. He had never done that to anyone else. It looks like Jian Chen is not a small deal either. He has actually wielded his authority against Protector Shan right from the start. It looks like he wants to create some trouble. Protector Shan is the strongest out of all of us. He's already an 8th heavenly layer infinite prime. Even some everlasting empires or peak clans that rule over a plane would take such an expert seriously. Jian Chen began targeting him as soon as he came back. That's far too reckless. 2 old men among the primordial realm experts present secretly conversed with each other. They were the two old men who had stopped Jian Chen before and wanted to capture him. They were called Protector Xing and Protector Bai, and they were both second heavenly layer infinite primes. Reckless? I don't think so. I can vaguely sense that Jian Chen is holding back anger, and this anger is very great. If I've guessed correctly, there's going to be some people in trouble out of all these protectors, and there's not even a shred of doubt that Protector Shan will be among them. The beautiful, charming woman joined in their conversation as well, stating her opinion. Her name was Mei Ji. People called her Protector Mei. Protector Shan is an 8th heavenly layer infinite prime. Jian Chen's cultivation doesn't seem to be particularly powerful. I heard he was only an over-god a few decades ago. Can he really suppress Protector Shan? Protector Xing asked in doubt. Don't forget that Jian Chen is the patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan now. There aren't any great elders or ancestors in the clan right now who surpass the position of patriarch, so Jian Chen basically possesses supreme authority. Moreover, I have a strong feeling that our patriarch isn't as simple as we think him to be. Don't you remember that as soon as he returned, Senior Su actually appeared personally? People received by Senior Su will never be ordinary. Protector Mei said sternly. She maintained a solemn expression as she stared at Jian Chen on the throne. Her fiery red lips slowly drew out into a smile as she thought to herself, the patriarch really is masculine right now. Patriarch, can I ask you something first? At this moment, Protector Shan, who had just sat down, could no longer contain himself and clasped his fist towards Jian Chen. Feel free to ask. Jian Chen glanced past Protector Shan very casually. He did not seem to take Protector Shan too seriously. When Protector Shan saw how he was being taken lightly, he immediately became infuriated. No one in the Tian Yuan clan had taken him lightly yet. However, as soon as he thought of the hell water, Protector Shan eventually managed to hold it in. I heard that the patriarch possesses hell water. Is that true? Protector Shan asked. He desired hell water very much. He had run out of patience a long time ago. As soon as they heard the mention of hell water, the eyes of all the primordial realm experts gathered in the discussion hall lit up. They all stared at Jian Chen with burning interest. Even Protector Xing, Protector Bai, and Protector Mei, who had witnessed Jian Chen gift a droplet of hell water to Su Ran, behaved the same. A gleam of light shone through Jian Chen's eyes, and he reached a level of understanding. With a flip of his hand, a jade bottle immediately appeared. The lid opened itself and a translucent droplet of deep, blue liquid slowly hovered out. It shone with a blinding, blue light. Immediately, it dyed the entire discussion hall blue. It was quite a dazzling sight. Hell water. It really is hell water, this presence, this color, it's definitely hell water. It can't be wrong. It was quiet in the hall at first, but a loud uproar soon erupted. It was quite the ruckus. The eyes of all the infinite primes lit up with desire. None of them had seen hell water before, but they knew about its features and effects extremely well. This was a wondrous item that had significant effects on even grand primes. If they used it on themselves, the effects would even be greater. It was an ultimate treasure for nourishing the soul. I have quite a lot of hell water on me, said Jian Chen. Bottle after bottle of hell water hovered out. A total of 8 appeared before him, and they all opened up. A droplet of hell water hovered out from each one. The 8 droplets of hell water shone with resplendent light. It was dazzling, hovering before Jian Chen quietly. Immediately, the discussion hall fell silent again. Everyone held their breaths as they faced the 8 droplets of hell water. Heavens, Jian Chen actually has so much hell water on him. Protector Shan was shocked. He was left tongue-tied as he stared at the 8 droplets of hell water. His heart beat faster and faster, and his blood surged. At that moment, he felt an urge to steal all the hell water then flee. However, as soon as he thought of the powerful formation around the clan, he could only give up on that thought. Patriarch, I'm at a critical point in my cultivation, and I'm in desperate need of hell water to break through. If I have hell water, my cultivation will definitely increase drastically. It might even reach a whole new level. I need 3 droplets. I need 3 droplets of hell water, Protector Shan said hurriedly as his breathing became ragged. He directly asked Jian Shen for hell water. Chapter 25-20, taking forcefully Protector Shan's breathing was hurried. His eyes burned with desire as blood surged through his entire body. Since hell water even had wondrous effects on grand primes, the effects would be even greater for him, an infinite prime. It was a fatal temptation to him. He would throw his life on the line for even a single droplet, let alone 3. How lucky did Jian Shen get to obtain 8 droplets of hell water? Aside from Senior Ming and Senior Su, I'm the strongest in the Tian Yuan clan. I'm not asking for too much if I only take 3 droplets. Protector Shan struggled to remain calm. He had already stood up from his seat as he clenched his teeth while thinking to himself, even if I can't get 3 droplets, 2 droplets work too. 2 droplets, I must get at least 2 droplets. Of course, 3 droplets would obviously be even better. It's just a pity that this is the Tian Yuan clan, and there's Senior Ming and Senior Su, 2 chaotic primes. If this were somewhere else, all 8 droplets would be mine, thought Protector Shan. He was very ambitious, but he still maintained a sliver of rationality. He dared not act recklessly. That's right. I need 3 droplets of hell water. With 3 droplets, I'll be able to reach the 9th heavenly layer of infinite prime very soon. I might even reach chaotic prime. Patriarch, think this over carefully. You only need to exchange 3 droplets of hell water for a chaotic prime in the clan. I think you understand extremely well just what a chaotic prime means to the clan, Protector Shan said excitedly and eagerly. Protector Shan, do you know the value of hell water? Jian Shen maintained his mocking attitude. Of course I know, said Protector Shan. His mind was filled with thoughts of hell water. All his attention had been drawn away by it, so he mostly lost the capacity to think normally. He failed to discover that something was off. In reality, over half of the primordial realm experts present had sensed that something was amiss. From Jian Shen's expression, it seemed like he was toying with Protector Shan. Many people adopted an attitude of watching a show. Protector Shan was an 8th heavenly layer infinite prime. Aside from Ming Xia and Su Ran, no one in the Tian Yuan clan could keep him at bay. They wondered how Jian Shen would deal with him. At this moment, Jian Shen said, Protector Shan, since you know the value of hell water, do you think that you, a mere 8th heavenly layer infinite prime, is worth 3 droplets of hell water? Jian Shen said relaxedly. It was like he did not care about an 8th heavenly layer infinite prime. All of them felt like he really did not care about an 8th heavenly layer infinite prime. The eyes of all the primordial realm experts narrowed at that moment. They all paid attention to Jian Shen. Protector Shan was an 8th heavenly layer infinite prime after all. Many people believed that even if Jian Shen was displeased with Protector Shan, it was rather inappropriate for him to scoff Protector Shan so mercilessly. As a matter of fact, they felt he had gone a little overboard. Protector Shan was stunned as well. He failed to react to what Jian Shen had just said. He was an 8th heavenly layer infinite prime after all, the strongest out of all the protectors of the Tian Yuan clan. He believed he possessed a great status and an important identity, so he never thought Jian Shen would actually treat him like that. At that moment, the hall fell silent, where they could even hear a pin drop. Protector Shan remained stunned for several seconds before returning to his senses. He was immediately infuriated, and he glared at Jian Shen. A powerful presence erupted from his body fearlessly, and he called out, Jian Shen, what are you trying to say? Do you really think you're a big deal just because you're the patriarch? That you can look down on people? Humph, how dare you? You dare to treat us like this. Where's young Master Ming? I want to suggest to young Master Ming to dismiss you as patriarch. The true leader of the Tian Yuan clan is young Master Ming, not you. Do you really think so many of us would join the Tian Yuan clan because of you? Protector Shan said firmly. Since he had already been openly offended, there was no need for him to show mercy anymore. He spoke boldly, directly disregarding Jian Chen's status as patriarch. Many primordial realm experts secretly agreed to what Protector Shan said to the end. Ming Dun was the exact reason that they joined the Tian Yuan clan. Even though none of them knew Ming Dong's true identity, they knew his background was astonishing purely off the fact that he was protected by a peak chaotic prime and that the two great organizations of the Cloud Plane dared not offend him. A clan so great that no one dared to provoke it naturally became a fantastic place where they could cultivate at ease. As a matter of fact, they treated it as something that they could take advantage of. Once they joined a clan like this, not only was there no need for them to risk their lives constantly, but they would also receive large amounts of cultivation resources and remuneration. Why would they not join? As a result, many of the primordial realm experts only truly recognized Ming Dong. Only Ming Dong could order them around. They did not take the so-called patriarch seriously at all. Jian Chen's expression did not change. Who the patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan is has nothing to do with you. However, from now onwards, you are no longer a protector of our Tian Yuan clan. With my identity as patriarch, I expel you. Shiyu, has this person taken more than what he is supposed to receive from the clan in the past? Shiyu stood up. She looked at Protector Shan, and the light in her eyes flickered. She said with some hesitation, Protector Shan has remained in our Tian Yuan clan for a total of 15 years, but he has actually taken up over 50 years' worth of remuneration, along with 3 third-grade god-tier heavenly resources, flame fruits. The remuneration Protector Shan claimed in advance was technically borrowed, Shiyu added. Jian Chen stared at Protector Shan and coldly said, return what you borrowed right now. Return the 3 flame fruits immediately, and then leave by yourself. With that, an uproar broke out in the hall. At that moment, even the original members of the clan seated at the back were left stunned, let alone the primordial realm protectors. Jian Chen was actually chasing away a mighty 8th heavenly layer infinite prime? Moreover, he was demanding for him to return everything he owed without any room for negotiation? At that moment, all of them could not help but wonder if their ears were deceiving them. Jian Chen, you are too presumptuous. It looks like I need to wake you up in the place of young Master Ming and let you understand exactly what you are in the Tian Yuan clan. Protector Shan's face darkened from anger. He was absolutely infuriated. He bellowed out, and his presence surged as he shot towards Jian Chen with lightning speed. It seemed like he wanted to teach Jian Chen a lesson. In reality, his eyes were fixated on the 8 droplets of hell water that had not been stowed away. His eyes burned with desire. I must get the hell water. I didn't want to take it forcefully originally, but since you provoked me, I've got a reason to lay my hands on you. Even if young Master Ming decides to look into the matter later on, I will have my reasons. However, I can't take away all 8 droplets of hell water just in case that displease young Master Ming, thought Protector Shan. He seemed extremely furious, but he did not actually lose his rationality. He knew what to do to take the hell water away. His eyes locked onto 3 droplets of hell water. Chapter 25-21, Tidying Up the Clan, 1. In an instant, Protector Shan arrived beside Jian Chen. He extended his hand with lightning speed, directly reaching towards 3 droplets of hell water. As he struck out, his presence as an 8th heavenly layer infinite prime reached the limit as well, enveloping Jian Chen completely to suppress him. Even the 3 droplets of hell water he eyed were surrounded by a mysterious power, preventing Jian Chen from taking them back. When Protector Shan moved, all the primordial realm experts in the hall focused their attention, concentrating on the matter. This was the most critical moment. Hell water was so precious that if Protector Shan really took the droplets away, Jian Chen would be humiliated. The entire time, Jian Chen seemed like he knew what he was doing. He hasn't begun to panic at all. I wonder what he's depending on. Is it Senior Ming or Senior Su? It shouldn't be. I've stayed in the Tian Yuan clan for so long, but I've never seen the two of them interfere with the internal matters of the clan, thought Protector Shui. As he looked at Protector Shan, a sliver of hesitance appeared in his eyes. He wanted to stop Protector Shan, but he controlled himself in the end. Protector Shui still recognized this patriarch who had suddenly returned to a certain degree. They're really putting on a good show. I wonder how Jian Chen will deal with this. Will he ask Protector Su to take action? Mei Ji's eyes lit up as well. She stared right ahead with great curiosity and eagerness. Protector Xing and Protector Bai were the same, bearing similar thoughts to Mei Ji. Of course, not all the primordial realm experts thought like that. A few of them sneered gently. They wanted to see Jian Chen embarrass himself. It all happened in a split second. With a flash, Protector Shan's hand arrived above a droplet of a hell water. He moved so fast that he had surpassed the reaction speeds of God Kings. Only primordial realm experts could see everything happening. Protector Shui's lips had already curled up into a gentle smile. He was extremely excited. He treated the hell water like it was his already. However, at this moment, an extremely powerful sword intense suddenly appeared. Sword chi permeated the entire hall in an instant. A strand of finger-sized, white sword chi hovered above Jian Chen's head, shining resplendently. The appearance of the sword chi immediately shocked all the primordial realm experts in the hall. They were taken aback. They felt a bone-chilling power of slaughter from the sword chi. They could not help but become frightened. The sword chi was small, only the size of a finger, but the power it possessed was earth-shaking. Protector Shan was shocked as well. His eyes narrowed to the size of pinheads as he stared right at the tiny sword chi above Jian Chen's head. He felt fatal danger. He did not hesitate at all, giving up on the hell water that he had almost reached decisively. He retreated with even faster speed, immediately pulling away from Jian Chen. However, it was already too late. Jian Chen's profound sword chi had already shot off. It moved with unbelievable speed as if it had surpassed the limits of space and time. It arrived near Protector Shan's forehead in an instant and pierced his soul. Arg! Protector Shan immediately cried out miserably. His soul had been heavily injured, almost severed into two by the profound sword chi. At the same time, Jian Chen stood up from the patriarch's throne. His gaze was cold as he slammed his hand into Protector Shan's chest with tremendous might. The power of his palm strike was extremely great. Protector Shan basically could not defend at all because his soul was injured, so the attack directly struck his frail body. His chest was almost punched through by Jian Chen's hand, which reduced all his organs to pulp. Protector Shan shot off like a cannonball, flying directly out of the discussion hall. Blood sprayed from his mouth wildly as he cried out painfully on the ground. He no longer had the power to stand up. His soul was heavily injured, almost to the point of dispersion. He was at death's door. All the seated primordial realm experts were stunned. Their eyes widened as they blankly stared at Protector Shan as he wailed out on the cold, hard ground outside. As they felt shock, they also struggled to accept this all. Protector Shan was an 8th heavenly layer infinite prime, the undisputed strongest out of all the primordial realm protectors of the Tian Yuan clan. Despite that being the case, he had been reduced to such a sorry shape in Jian Chen's hands, heavily injured from a single clash. None of them had expected this. Just what level of cultivation does Jian Chen possess? At that moment, all the primordial realm protectors thought the same question. Their understanding of Jian Chen was based on when he fought against the Empyrean demon cult with the divine kingdom of Pingtian several decades ago. Back then, Jian Chen was only an over-god. He was not even a god king. Yet now, he had heavily injured Protector Shan, an 8th heavenly layer infinite prime, from a single clash. This stunned them all, making them gasp. Jian Chen is actually so powerful. Mei Ji's eyes lit up after she overcame her shock. She stared right at Jian Chen. The patriarch's strength is actually so terrifying. This. The original members of the Tian Yuan clan were left dumbfounded as well. They were filled with disbelief as they saw Protector Shan in such sorry shape. Protector Shan, you committed treachery by attempting to steal hell water from my hands. You should deserve death, but since you are a protector of the Tian Yuan clan, I will spare your life. Come and take him away. Once he wakes up, have him return everything he owes. Dismiss him as a protector and chase him out of the clan. Jian sat back down slowly and ordered emotionlessly. He possessed a dignified bearing, where he could not be defied. He had already shown Protector Shan mercy. He had purposefully weakened the profound sword chi, or Protector Shan would have suffered far worse injuries than now. He might have even passed away from that strike alone. A few god kings immediately arrived outside the discussion hall and took Protector Shan away. Shiyu, regardless of their cultivation, dismissed the 3 protectors who haven't come to the meeting and expel them from the clan. Our Tian Yuan clan does not need such people. Jian followed up with a second order with lightning speed. He did not treat infinite primes like they were a big deal at all. Chapter 25-22, Tidying Up the Clan. 2. Jian order immediately threw the crowd into an uproar. All the high-ranking members of the clan were stunned, and the infinite primes all looked at each other, as if they had never expected Jian would be so vicious against the 3 protector who did not come. After all, they were not Protector Shan. Protector Shan had gone overboard in the discussion hall, so expelling him from the clan did make sense. However, the 3 protectors were being expelled purely because they had not come to the meeting. Were infinite primes worth nothing? At that moment, basically everyone present had such a thought. After all, they were primordial realm experts, not over-gods or god-kings. In many large organizations, any primordial realm expert would be revered as an ancestor. The organization would do their best to fulfill whatever they wanted, afraid that they would displease them. There was no one like Jian who would directly dismiss them over something as small as this. After all, these were only so many infinite primes in the current Tian Yuan clan. Without any exaggeration, every single one of them held an extremely great status. Shiyu, Heiya, immediately go to their residences with some people and ask them to leave the Tian Yuan clan, Jian said coldly and firmly. He left no room for negotiation. J, Patriarch, W, we shouldn't do that, right? They're primordial realm experts after all, and 2 of them are at the 5th heavenly layer. A primordial realm expert in the hall stood up and asked for mercy. Originally, he wanted to call Jian by his name, but as soon as he thought about the strength Jian displayed when he injured Protector Shan, he changed his words. So what if they're 5th heavenly layer infinite primes? They use the resources of our Tian Yuan clan, yet they ignore the rules. Let alone 5th heavenly layer infinite primes, even 9th heavenly layer infinite primes have no reason to stay if they're like that, Jian said coldly. He had enveloped the Tian Yuan clan with the senses of his soul, so he knew the 3 of them were not cultivating. There was definitely no reason for him to keep people who only knew how to laze around. Shiyu and Heiya immediately left the discussion hall with over a dozen god kings and went to where the 3 primordial realm experts resided. The god kings were obviously useless before primordial realm experts, but they were high-ranking members of the clan's disciplinary hall. They were responsible for upholding rules, so it only made sense for them to handle the matter. Very soon, the 3 primordial realm experts were called out, and when they learnt that they had been expelled from the clan by the Patriarch, they all became furious. What? Jian is expelling us from the Tian Yuan clan? Just him? We're primordial realm experts. We've come to serve young Master Ming. Who does Jian think he is? What right does he have to expel us from the clan? The 3 primordial realm experts called out loudly as they directly made their way to the discussion hall to confront Jian. Of course, even though the 3 of them were angered, they dared not start fighting like Protector Shan. After all, the Tian Yuan clan had chaotic primes. They could take Jian lightly, but they had to consider the presence of the 2 chaotic primes. Let's go. Let's go find young Master Ming and get him to dismiss Jian from the position of Patriarch. Does he really think he can directly order us because he's the Patriarch? He doesn't have that right yet. The three primordial realm experts left the discussion hall furiously to find Ming Dong. Ming Dong strolled through a garden of exotic flowers within the forbidden grounds of the Tian Yuan clan with Yun Xiaoyan. They remained in their own quiet, little world. They were at ease and relaxed, paying no attention to any matters of the clan, as if they did not care at all. At this moment, a female attendant reported that the three primordial realm experts wanted to see Ming Dong. Ming Dong frowned when he heard that. He had already established that they should not disturb him unless there was something particularly important, as he never liked to deal with such matters. Moreover, now that Jian Chen was back, even if there was anything particularly important, he was there to deal with them. Why had the three primordial realm experts come to him? Ming Dong, are the three protectors looking for you because of your brother Jian Chen? Yun Xiaoyan said gently from beside Ming Dong. A gleam of light flashed through Ming Dong's eyes from that. He could not ignore matters regarding Jian Chen, so he immediately met up with the three protectors. Greetings, young Master Ming. Very soon, the three protectors appeared before Ming Dong. They dismissed their haughtiness and showed great respect. Afterwards, they vented all their unhappiness, roughly explaining Jian Chen's ruthless actions while warping certain aspects, making him antagonistic. However, before they had even finished speaking, Ming Dong frowned and stopped them by raising his hand. His face sank slightly, and he said, "Are you saying that Jian Chen is expelling the three of you from the clan?" The three protectors rejoiced inside when they saw Ming Dong's expression change. They thought Ming Dong had become displeased by Jian Chen's ruthless actions, so they clasped their fists in a hurry. Indeed. Young Master Ming, please correct this injustice for us. Ming Dong's face sank. Jian Chen is the patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan. What he says is the ultimate decision of the clan. Since he has expelled you from the clan, you no longer belong to the Tian Yuan clan. The expressions of the three protectors changed. Young Master Ming, shut up. Jian Chen has gone through thick and thin with me. Chapter 25-23, Tidying Up the Clan. 3. Originally, the protectors never took Jian Chen seriously. Only after they witnessed Jian Chen injure Protector Shan and saw the astonishing strength he displayed did they truly understand his power. The patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan definitely was not as weak as rumored. Not to mention that not only was he powerful, but his actions were also extremely ruthless and decisive. He expelled three primordial realm experts just because they had not shown up for a meeting. As a result, none of the protectors dared to take Jian Chen lightly anymore. They began to accept him as the patriarch. Jian Chen sat on the patriarch's throne and glanced past the protectors coldly. He knew that he had already managed to establish his might, but this was not the end. Who is Protector Xiang? Jian Chen asked emotionlessly. As soon as Jian Chen mentioned Protector Xiang, Mo Yan's face immediately lit up as she stood near the entrance. Excitement filled her face. The eyes of Mo Ling, the past ancestor of the Mo clan, lit up as well. He seemed to guess something, and he became eager. I am Xiang Ping, and I greet the patriarch. A bald old man stood forward and clasped his fist at Jian Chen. He behaved in an approachable manner, without putting on any airs as a primordial realm expert. Of course, this was only because he had witnessed Jian Chen's strength earlier. Jian Chen looked at Protector Xiang and said, Protector Xiang, I heard you injured a founding member of the Tian Yuan clan. The eyes of all the primordial realm experts in the discussion hall narrowed, and they stared at Protector Xiang. Some of their faces became very unnatural. From Jian Chen's tone, they could all tell that he was about to punish Protector Xiang. He had only injured a puny figure, someone who was essentially ant-like in their eyes, yet he would be judged and punished before everyone. This made all the primordial realm experts sense an ill omen. After all, they had done quite a lot of things in the Tian Yuan clan in the past. If Jian Chen decided to go through them one by one, many of them would face miserable outcomes. It was impossible to defeat him in battle. Even the strongest protector, Protector Shan, was not his opponent, let alone them. Even their last sliver of hope, young Master Ming, stood on Jian Chen's side. Without any exaggeration, if the patriarch decided to punish them for past matters, there really was no way for them to avoid it. Protector Xiang could sense what Jian Chen wanted to do as well. His heart sank slightly, and he said, "Patriarch, there's probably a misunderstanding. I hope the Patriarch can get to the bottom of this. Mo Ling, tell me how Protector Xiang treated you in detail, as well as everything that led up to it," said Jian Chen. Mo Ling was overjoyed as he began to go through the matter carefully. The Tian Yuan clan had already investigated a few matters with regards to Protector Xiang's past. He had fallen out with an ancestral emperor of the Heavenly Moon Empire many years ago and had once been hunted down for around a century, so he resented the Heavenly Moon Empire. He wanted to destroy them. Unfortunately, his strength was limited, so he was unable to destroy the empire with his strength alone. At the same time, he faced the pursuit of the ancestral emperor at all times, so he ended up joining the Tian Yuan clan. Protector Xiang had used various reasons to urge on the high-ranking members of the clan many times. He had even directly roped in a few protectors to suggest that they should conquer the Heavenly Moon Empire. On the surface, he seemed like he did this completely out of consideration for the clan's expansion, giving suggestions and advice to assist the clan. However, in reality, he wanted to use the Tian Yuan clan's might to destroy the Heavenly Moon Empire and fulfill his personal objective. His suggestion had received the support of many important members of the clan back then, but due to Mo Ling's intense objection, the idea fell through and was rejected in the end. Infuriated, Protector Xiang directly grabbed Mo Ling by the neck and threw him out, injuring him. Protector Xiang's expression became rather ugly after Mo Ling's narration. "Protector Xiang, do you admit to this?" Jian Chen looked at Protector Xiang coldly. "Patriarch, I suggested conquering the Heavenly Moon Empire purely out of consideration for the clan's development. I definitely have no selfish intentions behind it. As for Mo Ling, he's only an over-god, yet he dares to stand up to me. I only punished him slightly. Am I in the wrong for doing that as well? Am I, a fifth heavenly layer infinite prime, not even as great as an over-god in the Tian Yuan clan?" Protector Xiang refuted as he felt wronged. Many of the protectors nodded and agreed with Protector Xiang. They believed that an over-god deserved some punishment if he challenged their words. Jian Chen snorted coldly from the Patriarch's throne. Primordial realm experts do possess very great status in the clan, but if you want to use that status to do whatever you want, there's only one outcome for you. With that, Jian Chen suddenly vanished. He arrived beside Protector Xiang like he had teleported, and sword chi surged from his body. The power from the ultimate way of the sword gathered in his hand as he struck out, shattering space as he attacked Protector Xiang with lightning speed. At the same time, formations rose up and enveloped the entire discussion hall, protecting all the protectors and high-ranking members of the clan. Jian Chen's sudden attack caused Protector Xiang's expression to change drastically. However, he was experienced in battle as a primordial realm expert, so he immediately responded. He placed a low-quality god artifact shield before him. Boom! Jian Chen's hand struck the shield, and a rumble immediately rang out. Powerful energy shook it up, knocking Protector Xiang away with the shield. Jian Chen's current battle prowess was far beyond the fifth heavenly layer of infinite prime. The difference in strength was far too great. As a result, even when Protector Xiang wielded a god artifact shield, he struggled to endure the might of a blow from Jian Chen. Protector Xiang landed on the floor in sorry shape. His face was pale as blood sprayed from his mouth. He was heavily injured. Jian Chen stood in the center of the discussion hall with his hands behind his back. He glanced at Protector Xiang coldly before swinging his arm and turning around, returning to his throne. He said, "From today onwards, anyone who touches members of the Tian Yuan clan will suffer the same fate as Protector Xiang. Protectors do possess status, but they cannot ignore the rules of the clan. They do not stand above the disciplinary hall." The discussion hall was dead silent. Everyone was stunned, and no one said anything. Some of the protectors even became covered in cold sweat. They were unsettled. From today onwards, Xiang Ping is no longer a protector of the Tian Yuan clan. He is expelled. Jian Shen passed down another command. Chapter 25-24. A renewed clan protector. Shan had been expelled from the clan. The 3 protectors who ignored the patriarch's summonings were expelled, and now, even Protector Xiang was expelled. In the blink of an eye, 5 of the 18 protectors of the Tian Yuan clan had been expelled. Primordial realm experts held extremely great statuses in the saints' world because they were existences who stood at the apex. Even weaker infinite primes would possess quite some weight in peak organizations. Yet at this moment, Jian Shen had directly expelled 5 of them without even batting an eye. In particular, 3 of them did not even commit any horrible mistakes in the eyes of the other protectors. Jian Shen's attitude towards primordial realm experts made the hearts of the remaining protectors sink slightly. Some of them even became unsettled and uneasy. This was because many of them had ignored the rules of the Tian Yuan clan. They had caused quite some trouble to the upper echelon of the Tian Yuan clan. They were able to act in such a manner because Ming Dong did not care. He did not manage the clan. As primordial realm experts, they were unrestrained, so they naturally became rather fearless. Now that Jian Shen was settling matters of the past ruthlessly, the protectors who had gone a little too far in the past became uneasy. They were afraid that they would be in trouble next. They did not want to leave the Tian Yuan clan just yet because they could obtain items here that other organizations could not provide. As a matter of fact, it would be easier for them to obtain treasures, legacies, heavenly resources, and so on in the Tian Yuan clan compared to other organizations. This patriarch really is different. He doesn't treat us as a big deal at all. It looks like we need to properly serve this patriarch if we want to remain in the Tian Yuan clan comfortably in the future, Protector Xing and Protector Bai thought to themselves. They wiped their cold sweat as they felt lingering fear. This was because they had almost laid their hands on Jian Shen the first time they met him. Now that they had personally witnessed Jian Shen's strength and ruthlessness, they both felt extremely fortunate. I never thought the patriarch would be so ruthless. Not only is he powerful, but he's handsome too. Only a man like that is worthy for me to serve. Protector Mei remained rather composed. The light in her enchanting eyes flickered as she stared right at Jian Shen in a strange light. Shiyu, have any other protectors ignored the rules of the clan and gone overboard? If they have, list them for me, Jian Shen continued. This time, he had made up his mind. He wanted to tidy up the clan properly this time, purging all the problems without leaving a single one behind. With that, the primordial realm experts in the discussion hall immediately became rather pale. Shiyu stood up and mentioned a few names. As the princess of the Shi Empire with a chaotic prime as a father, her status was extremely great. She did not have to worry about revenge from these people. She was bold enough to do what others dared not. As a result, she mentioned another 7 names without any hesitation. At the same time, she listed the errors that they had committed in the past varying in severity. In the end, 5 of the 7 protectors committed rather severe mistakes, so they were expelled from the clan without any hesitation. The other 2 made smaller blunders, so they remained as protectors to make up for their mistakes through their future services. A total of 10 protectors were expelled from the clan by Jian Shen, leaving only 8 behind in the end. Patriarch, our clan possesses a great amount of cultivation resources and various cultivation methods of various levels, but there are issues with their distribution. There has always been arguments regarding this in the clan. Although we've come up with many methods of distribution in the past, they were either turned down, or they were difficult to actually implement. Since the patriarch has returned, please settle this matter, said Shiyu. Jian Shen rubbed his temples. Ming Dong truly paid no regard to the whole matter. It had been so many years already, yet the distribution of the resources still had not been properly decided. The meeting this time went on for a very long time. Jian Shen first expelled 10 protectors with lightning speed before dealing with the problems that Shiyu and the various other people could not settle. In the end, everyone present reached an agreement. They decided on a rather perfect way to distribute the valuable resources and various legacies. 3 days later, the first meeting Jian Chen held since returning came to an end. Before long, a list of contributions and a list of missions appeared in the Tian Yuan clan. The clan would set various missions, and the members who completed them would receive a corresponding amount of merit. They could use this merit to exchange for various resources, precious heavenly resources, or even primordial realm legacies, various cultivation methods, and battle skills. The appearance of the two lists shook up the entire clan and garnered everyone's attention. However, this all had nothing to do with Jian Chen. He was the same as Ming Dong, not exactly skilled in clan management. After deciding on the major and important matters, he left the rest up to Shi Yu and the others, allowing them to take over completely. Meanwhile, he stood aside just like Ming Dong. Mo Xingfeng had also returned to the provincial city. He maintained a low profile while Jian Chen held the meeting. After waiting for several days, he finally met Jian Chen. Mo Xingfeng had become the emperor of the Pingtian Empire. He controlled a vast territory and a great military. Chapter 25-25 The Heavenly Moon Empire yields. Several decades ago, Jian Chen had grievances with both sects, and the grievances ran deep. Of course, out of the two sects, Jian Chen hated the Taoist sect of Calm Clouds the most. Although he had old grievances with the Earth Spirit sect, all his conflicts with the sect were out in the open. On the other hand, the Taoist sect of Calm Clouds appeared to be extremely amiable and held Jian Chen in great esteem, yet at a crucial moment, one of their god kings actually disguised himself and tried to assassinate Jian Chen while the war between the divine kingdom of Pingtian and the Empyrean demon cult waged on. Jian Chen could remember the assassination attempt like it was yesterday. He had an extremely deep impression of it. If it were not for the fact that he had some trump cards, he would have died at the hands of that god king long ago. "Let them in and bring them here," Jian Chen said to the attendant calmly. Several decades ago, before he had left the Cloud Plain, the Heavenly Moon Empire was an insurmountable existence in his eyes, an ancient empire that he could not provoke. But now, they were nothing in his eyes. Even if he ignored Ming Dong, he could deal with the entire empire alone. Very soon, the guests from the Heavenly Moon Empire arrived. There were a total of 3 people, the current emperor of the Heavenly Moon Empire and 2 ancestral emperors who had abdicated many years ago. The 2 ancestral emperors were old men. They were dignified, and their eyes shone brightly. They had a majestic gait, and they gave off a natural sense of authority. This had been naturally established after holding a high position in the empire for many years. However, right now, they completely concealed their presences in the Tian Yuan clan. They did their best to appear ordinary. They had come fearfully. As for the current emperor, he was a middle-aged man with a striking appearance. He wore dragon robes and gave off the dignified sense of an emperor. However, he did hide it. These 3 important members of the Heavenly Moon Empire arrived in the Tian Yuan clan carefully. They were cautious with all their actions, unwilling to show any disrespect. 7th Heavenly Layer and 2nd Heavenly Layer Infinite Primes, Jian Chen glanced past the 2 ancestral emperors and determined their cultivation levels. The current emperor was a peak god king. The 3 of them bowed when they saw Jian Chen. They did their best to maintain a low profile. As a matter of fact, they even showed some respect. They dared not show any rudeness towards the patriarch who had suddenly returned, as they had already learnt some things about the events of the Tian Yuan clan in the past few days. It was the patriarch right before them, the one who did not give off any pressure and seemed just like an ordinary person, who expelled 10 primordial realm protectors swiftly. Even the 8th Heavenly Layer Infinite Prime, Protector Shan, had been injured by him. Although it had only been a few decades, the patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan's strength had risen in an unbelievable manner. In the eyes of all the protectors, Jian Chen's current cultivation could be described as unfathomable. The ancestral emperors greeted Jian Chen first and exchanged some pleasantries casually before approaching the main topic. They wanted to form an alliance with the Tian Yuan clan. Jian Chen remained silent and did not reply. However, Mo Xingfeng replied as the emperor of the Ping Tian Empire, with the strength of your heavenly moon empire, you have no right to form an alliance with us. After all, even if we include the Earth Spirit sect and the Daoist sect of Calm Clouds, you only have 4 infinite primes, while our Tian Yuan clan has a sword god army that can sweep through your lands, let alone our protectors. The ancestral emperors and emperor of the heavenly moon empire fell quiet. The sword god army of the Tian Yuan clan was known for their strength in the southern region of the Cloud Plain. Even though there were only 10,000 in number, the entire army was composed of cultivators at God or beyond. The number of overgods amounted to 1/3 of the entire army, and there were even quite a few god kings. Additionally, the sword god army had grasped a battle formation. Once they fell into formation, their battle prowess would multiply. Through a formation scroll from Mingdong, they could even stand up to primordial realm experts if they gathered all their strength together. Our heavenly moon empire is willing to yield to the Tian Yuan clan and become a subsidiary, said one of the ancestral emperors in the end. The situation across the entire Cloud Plain had changed with the formation of the Righteous Alliance and the Four Symbols Alliance. All the organizations belonged to one of the 2 alliances. Apart from the Tian Yuan clan, there were no exceptions. The Heavenly Moon Empire originally belonged to the Four Symbols Alliance, but they were expelled for some reason and were now independent. The Heavenly Moon Empire had tried to yield to the Tian Yuan clan several times, but Protector Xiang would hinder them every time, resulting in the matter's failure. Mo Xingfeng dared not accept the Heavenly Moon Empire. Instead, he looked at Jian Chen. Jian Chen lowered his head in thought. After careful consideration, he nodded in the end and allowed the Heavenly Moon Empire to yield to the Tian Yuan clan. Neither the Tian Yuan clan or the Ping Tian Empire sought complete domination. However, they did need to expand if it was appropriate. The 2 ancestral emperors of the Heavenly Moon Empire beamed. They immediately clasped their fists towards Jian Chen and bowed. They believed the Heavenly Moon Empire would truly be free of worries now that they had joined the Tian Yuan clan. Chapter 25-26. The 7 imprints. Since Yun Xiaoyan was now with Mingdong, Jian Chen naturally did not try to settle what happened back in the Neptunian Divine Palace. Very soon, they ate and drank to their satisfaction. Jian Chen also parted with his close friends and returned to his residence. The Tian Yuan clan had been expanded many times while he was gone. During the expansions, he was obviously given the best area in the clan as the patriarch, and the largest residence was constructed for him. The residence seemed just like a palace. It was majestic and grand on the outside, giving off an invisible pressure, and its interior was luxuriously decorated. There were many precious items and priceless jades used for decor, as well as extraordinary flowers and herbs. They gave off a faint fragrance that could clear the minds of people with a single whiff. All the flowers and herbs were actually renowned plants. They had all reached God tier, making them extremely valuable. Yet, they were only enough to be used as decoration. Jian Chen shook his head. He was rather speechless as he looked at his residence that was even more luxurious than an emperor's palace. He could not even imagine something like this when he left the Cloud Plain several decades ago. Jian Chen. At this moment, Qin Yishuan's voice rang out from outside the residence. Jian Chen glanced at the entrance before waving his hand, and the door opened automatically. Qin Yishuan walked in slowly from outside, giving off a righteous spirit. When she saw the white-robed Jian Chen with his hair down, a mixed light flashed through her eyes. Qin Yishuan, you've come looking for me so late. It should be something important, right? Jian Chen looked at Qin Yishuan calmly. Qin Yishuan looked at Jian Chen. She did not reply immediately. Instead, she said gently after a moment of silence, Jian Chen, do you still remember that place where I obtained Sword Master Yun Qi's legacy underground? Jian Chen nodded. Of course, I remember. Are there any problems? Qin Yishuan looked at Jian Chen with some worry and said, the golden core of laws I obtained from Sword Master Yun Qi hid a message. The message was extremely well hidden, deep within the golden core of laws. I only absorbed this information several months ago when my comprehension of the way of the sword progressed to a certain level. It's about the 7 other peak experts who suffered with Swordmaster Yun Qi. Swordmaster Yun Qi seems to worry about them quite a lot, and he even wants me to tell you that you should be careful of the 7 of them if you are still fine. With that, Jian Chen sank into his thoughts. Qi Nishuan was worried. She continued, the 7 peak experts passed away many years ago. Although I don't know why Swordmaster Yun Qi is worried about them or why he wants me to warn you, but they're all terrifying figures of exceptional ability for being able to reach such a level of cultivation. I fear that they might have prepared something and plan on doing something detrimental to you. I understand. Thank you for your warning, Qi Nishuan. Jian Chen smiled faintly, as if it was nothing for him to worry about. Qi Nishuan immediately became slightly frustrated by Jian Chen's attitude. At the same time, she became rather worried inside. She said, Jian Chen, don't you believe what I said? No, I believe you. Don't worry. I know what I'm doing. Everything is within my control, Jian Chen said with composure. He was not worried at all. After Qi Nishuan left, Jian Chen thought over some things in the hall of the residence before making his way over to a secret room for secluded cultivation. He sat down on a jade bed. His consciousness had completely submerged into his soul, allowing him to see his entire soul with even greater clarity. Jian Chen could hazily sense 7 specks hidden in an extremely remote region of his soul. The 7 specks were 7 imprints of consciousness. They were extremely well hidden, and it was as if they had completely fused with Jian Chen's soul. If it were not for the fact that Jian Chen's soul had changed after fusing with the strand of true chaotic force, becoming much more powerful than before, he might have failed to discover their existence. Ziying, Qing Sua, when are they going to wake up? Jian Chen communicated with the sword spirits with his mind. The sense of unease he experienced for some reason as he absorbed the golden cores of laws to cultivate made him cautious from that moment onwards. Afterwards, as he grew in strength, and his soul rapidly strengthened, he finally found the 7 imprints of consciousness due to the peculiarity of his soul. The 7 imprints of consciousness are still extremely weak. It'll take a very long time for them to wake up, the sword spirit said. It looks like I need to find a way to make these 7 imprints recover sooner in the future, or they might be useless when they wake up naturally, Jian Chen thought. Although the 7 experts had given their golden cores of laws to him, he did not owe them. His relationship with the 7 experts was a purely business one. He had struck a deal with them, and the deal even exposed him to the blood-tier Grand Exalt, allowing the Grand Exalt to see through him completely and learn about all his secrets. Despite that being the case, the 7 experts actually prepared something else behind the deal, harboring ill intentions. Since you are scheming against me, you can't blame me anymore. Once my chaotic body advances to the next layer, I'll try to awaken you sooner. By then, I'll surprise you all, Jian Chen sneered inside. For the next few days, it was rather peaceful for Jian Chen. He temporarily stopped cultivating, either spending all his time beside Shangguan Mu'er, celebrating with Ming Dong, newbies, and his other old friends, or discussing some matters of the saints' world. The return of the patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan gradually spread during this time. Organizations of various sizes from across the cloud plain sent people to visit and pay respects to Jian Chen. Jian Chen naturally let Shi Yu and the others handle these matters. He would only personally receive a few extremely special guests such as the Empress of the Shi Empire. Jian Chen. On this day, as Jian Chen and Shangguan Mu'er held hands and strolled through the gardens, newbies ran over excitedly from the distance. Newbies, what has gotten you so excited? Jian Chen asked, feeling rather curious. Newbie's face had even turned red from joy. This was extremely rare according to his understanding of newbies. Ha ha ha, Jian Chen, there's good news. Good news. I, the great newbies, have just received reliable news that there's an infinite prime golden-striped silver snake on the Delight Plain. You should know just how important the essence of my clansmen are to me. That's something crucial for increasing my strength rapidly. It can even make my bloodline constantly evolve, so I have to obtain that old snake's essence no matter what, Nubis said in high spirits. All right then. I'll go to the Delight Plain with you, said Jian Chen. He had already learnt about the gruesome growth of golden-striped silver snakes from Nubis. There's no need for that. The Tian Yuan clan is no longer a small clan. As the patriarch, how can you go personally? Just get Protector Shui to come with me. Protector Shui would never listen to me for something that's unrelated to the clan, said Nubis. Jian Chen had drawn up Huayan for Heya to look at in the past, but Heya did not memorize the appearance of a person with his innate ability, but the soul, presence, and some special features of their lives. As a result, Heya could do nothing from just an image. It's time for me to go to the Heavenly Moon Empire. Heya, come with me. Jian Chen's eyes deepened. He thought about how he had been ambushed during the war between the divine kingdom of Pingtian and the Empyrean demon cult again. He was not powerful enough back then, but it was time for him to settle some debts now that he was. The news that the patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan wanted to go to the Heavenly Moon Empire reached the ears of the protectors very soon. They had heard about his grievances with the peak sects in the Heavenly Moon Empire to a certain degree, so they immediately connected the matter to Jian Chen settling his debts. As a result, they all emerged from seclusion and asked Jian Chen for orders in an attempt to accrue merit. They were willing to go along with him. After all, the resources and various legacies of the Tian Yuan clan were all in Jian Chen's hands. Patriarch, it'll be a rather boring journey for you, so why don't you let me come with you? I can divert the patriarch from boredom along the way. The enchanting protector Mei walked over gently and winked at Jian Chen flirtatiously. She was extremely charming. Patriarch, we are willing to come along and handle any miscellaneous matters for the patriarch. The other protectors all asked for orders. There's no need. Just stay in the clan. I only need Heya to come with me, Jian Chen said, turning down all the protectors' offers. He left the Tian Yuan clan with Heya. Shangguan Mu'er remained in the Tian Yuan clan to cultivate. Jian Chen left the Water Cloud Hall behind and left the Fortune Jade in there to assist Shangguan Mu'er's cultivation. Along the way, Jian Chen stopped when he passed the Sword-Seeking Province. The Sword-Seeking Province was originally the leading province of the Divine Kingdom of Pingtian. Not only was Ling Hogong of the Sword-Seeking Province a contributor to the founding of the kingdom, but he also had close ties with Jian Chen. As he looked at the Sword-Seeking Province below him, memories flashed through Jian Chen's eyes. Afterwards, he descended and went to visit the Ling family there. Jian Chen's personal visit shook up the entire Ling family. The patriarch of the Ling family, Ling Majian, immediately led a group of important members of the clan to receive him. They were taken aback and extremely polite. Jian Chen and Heya were invited into a hall by the people of the Ling family, and they even offered Jian Chen the highest seat. However, Jian Chen declined and just sat down anywhere. The patriarch of the Ling family did not dare to take the highest seat now that Jian Chen sat where he did. Instead, he sat down cautiously beside Jian Chen, while the important members of the clan stood behind him. Ling Hogong still hasn't returned? Jian Chen asked Ling Majian. Ling Majian shook his head and replied carefully, the ancestor still hasn't returned. Moreover, we completely lost contact with him 30 years ago. We don't know what his current situation is like. Jian Chen sank into his thoughts. He did not know a lot of people in the saints' world, but Ling Hogong was one of them. Take this medallion. If your Ling family encounters any problems you can't deal with, go to the Tian Yuan clan with this medallion. Jian Chen did not remain for long. He left behind a medallion as a proof of identity before leaving with Heya. Ling Majian accepted the medallion with trembling hands. As if he had just obtained a great piece of treasure, he was utterly overjoyed. He thanked Jian Chen in a hurry. The high-ranking members of the clan were in joyous spirit as well. With the Tian Yuan clan's current status and strength, they deeply understood the value of the medallion. The Heavenly Moon Empire was the ancient empire closest to the Pingtian Empire. They possessed a long history, having existed for over 1,000,000 years now. Even among all the ancient empires in the southern region, they were powerful enough to occupy third place. The Heavenly Moon Empire possessed a total of 5 infinite primes. The Earth Spirit sect and the Taoist sect of Calm Clouds possessed 1 each, while the remaining 3 belonged to the imperial family. They were the 2 ancestral emperors who had abdicated already and a grand imperial protector. On this day, soldiers stood unmoving like statues on the walls of a fortress near the boundary, as if they were prepared for anything. They silently protected the peace there. There was a hubbub near the gateway of the fortress. Cultivators and merchants flowed in and out. Luxurious carriages would fly past, kicking up long streaks of dust. At this moment, there was a flash of resplendent light above the fortress, just like a meteorite. It shot brightly across the sky with unbelievable speed, leaving behind a beautiful white streak. It vanished into the horizon in an instant. Many people failed to even react to it. The streak of light had already traveled very far away before they could even look at the sky. What speed! That's definitely a primordial realm expert. An old general in armor stood in a tower within the fortress. He gave off the presence of a god king as he stared at the sky with eagerness and envy. This was a desire for the primordial realm. Chapter 25-28, Severing an arm. Although he discovered that a primordial realm expert had entered the territory of the Heavenly Moon Empire, the old general did nothing, as this was beyond his powers. Experts of the same level from the Empire would obviously come to deal with the intruding primordial realm expert. The matter had nothing to do with him. I wonder why this primordial realm expert has intruded on our Heavenly Moon Empire. However, it doesn't seem like he has come with good intentions. The old general stared in the direction that the primordial realm expert had vanished in as he became worried. In recent years, the Heavenly Moon Empire was not as peaceful as it seemed on the surface. Ever since it was expelled by the Four Symbols Alliance, the Heavenly Moon Empire became completely independent. They were eyed by their neighboring forces, which made them feel like a candle flame in the wind, where they could be extinguished at any time. However, our Heavenly Moon Empire has already pledged its loyalty to the Tian Yuan clan. We've become a subsidiary of the Tian Yuan clan. We no longer fear any organizations now, the old general murmured to himself, and he relaxed a lot. It was as if the Tian Yuan clan had become his greatest source of comfort. At this moment, a streak of light shot through the territory of the Heavenly Moon Empire, moving with unbelievable speed. 2 blurry figures could be vaguely seen within the light. They rapidly covered ground. The 2 of them were naturally Jian Chen and Heya. However, Jian Chen had grabbed Heya by the shoulder and was pulling him along. This should be the Taoist sect of Calm Clouds. A while later, Jian Chen and Heya arrived before a towering mountain. The light dispersed, revealing the 2 of them. The towering mountain was abundant with energy. It was beautiful, and the peak of the mountain would be obscured by mist from time to time. It really did seem like an otherworldly place. Moreover, powerful energy pulsed in the depths of the mountain. It was a formation in operation, isolating the entire place from the senses of souls. It really is an honor for our Taoist sect of Calm Clouds to welcome the patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan. I am Xingping, and I have brought all the elders of the sect to welcome the patriarch. At this moment, the formation around the Taoist sect of Calm Clouds opened up, and a blue-robed old man flew out. A large group of people followed behind him. The blue-robed old man was the primordial realm ancestor of the Taoist sect of Calm Clouds. His name was Xingping. Xingping led everyone to welcome Jian Chen. He was extremely submissive, almost to the point of seeming like he was groveling. He was filled with respect. He had already guessed the reason for Jian Chen's visit. He was filled with fear and unease. Now that the entire Heavenly Moon Empire had yielded to the Tian Yuan clan, the leader of the Tian Yuan clan only needed to utter a word to determine the fate of the Taoist sect of Calm Clouds. How could they not show him respect? Almost 20 God King elders held their heads low behind Xingming. They all experienced mixed feelings. They could not help but think about how the patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan was only an overgod a few decades ago, yet he had undergone a complete transformation now. He had become a powerful figure that even their ancestor had to lower his head to, someone that even the imperial clan of the Heavenly Moon Empire bowed down to. While they were amazed, they also felt very jealous and troubled. They had cultivated for tens of thousands of years, over 100,000 years or even longer, but they were only god kings right now. Meanwhile, Jian Shen had become a powerful primordial realm expert in just a few decades. All of them felt some envious because of this, calling the world unfair. Jian Shen was politely invited into the main hall by the ancestor of the Taoist sect of Calm Clouds. All the God King elders accompanied him quietly, standing towards the back with their heads lowered. None of them dared to say anything. The Taoist sect of Calm Clouds was located in the Heavenly Moon Empire. Due to their huge disparity in strength in comparison to the imperial family, they would follow some of the arrangements of the imperial family from time to time. However, the imperial family now followed Jian Shen. As a result, Jian Shen was now like the master of the Taoist sect of Calm Clouds. Jian Shen sat down in the main seat without holding back at all while Heya stood behind Jian Shen silently like a loyal bodyguard. He glanced past everyone present in the main hall indifferently. Xingping, you seem to be very nervous. What's wrong? Why have you become so afraid just because I've come? And why do your elders have such ugly expressions? You're all God King experts, so why do your legs shake? Can't you even stand still as God Kings? Jian Shen sat in the main seat casually as he glanced past everyone. He seemed to be making fun of them. However, Xingping and the elders could clearly sense a hint of coldness in Jian Shen's smile. The patriarch holds great authority now. A simple flick of your hand can produce rain and clouds. Our Taoist sect of Calm Clouds is just too puny in the eyes of the patriarch. Naturally, we would be alarmed by the patriarch's personal visit. Xingming smiled along with him as he broke into a sweat. He understood very well that it would be completely up to the patriarch's mood whether the Taoist sect of Calm Clouds could continue existing. The ancestor is right. The patriarch has come to visit this tiny Taoist temple of ours, which alarms us. How can we remain composed over such a matter? A few god kings added in a hurry out of respect. Jian Shen broke into laughter from that. I never thought that I, Jian Shen, would actually frighten you so much. Am I really that scary? Or should I say that your conscience is tormenting you? Xingping's expression changed. This was directly related to the survival of his Taoist sect of Calm Clouds, so he dared not be careless. Although he had permitted the attack on Jian Shen in the past, he could not admit to it. Xingping opened his mouth to explain, but Jian Shen waved his hand rather impatiently. Enough, I don't have enough time to waste it here. Xingping, don't you dare tell me you don't know about what happened in the past. The behavior of you and your elders has already betrayed you. I'll give you a choice right now. The first one would be that everyone involved severs one of their arms and do not regrow it for a century. The second would be for me to take personal action and handle your Taoist sect of Calm Clouds like you are enemies. What you choose is up to you. Jian Shen had already said that, so Xingping knew that if tried to argue or deny it, he might displease Jian Shen instead, leading to an even more painful fate. He immediately made his decision. He gritted his teeth and said, "Thank you for sparing our lives, Patriarch. Our entire Taoist sect of Calm Clouds will only listen to the Patriarch from now on." With that, Xingping drew a sword and cut off his left arm without any hesitation at all. Spurt. Blood spurted, and his left arm was separated from his body. He had severed his own arm. Ancestor. The expressions of some of the god kings who were clueless about the whole matter changed drastically. They were both frightened and at a loss. They did not know what was going on. After Xingping, a few other elders there drew weapons and severed their own arms without any hesitation as well. Blood sprayed out and dyed the ground red. Immediately, the clueless elders were left stunned. No matter how dim-witted they were, they could guess that these people probably had an unknown grievance with the patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan in the past. This made the elders pale in fright as they became badly shaken. Chapter 25-29. The death of the Earth Spirit Sect's ancestor. I was muddle-headed in the past, and I did not restrain my elders well, almost leading to a huge mistake. I thank the patriarch for your wise words and forgiveness. The ancestor of the Taoist sect of Calm Clouds, Xingping, bowed and said carefully. He placed particular stress on wise words, as if he was afraid that Jian Chen would regret his decision. After all, he and the elders had already expressed that they knew about what happened in the past and even permitted it to happen by severing one of their arms. If Jian Chen really wanted to settle it as a debt of blood, no one in the sect would be able to survive. The Heavenly Moon Empire had already pledged itself to the Tian Yuan clan. They had become a subsidiary organization of the Tian Yuan clan. Jian Chen only needed to say a single word to have the experts of the Heavenly Moon Empire kill their way through the Taoist sect of Calm Clouds. Jian Chen glanced past the elders who had severed one of their arms coldly. Apart from the ancestor of the Taoist sect of Calm Clouds, there were 5 other elders. Whether it be Xingping or the 5 elders, they all felt chills run down their spines when they faced Jian Chen's gaze. Jian Chen's gaze seemed to contain unlimited sword chi to them, where just a single glance made them feel like they were pierced by swords. It struck fear into their hearts. Even his gaze is so terrifying. Just what level of cultivation has the patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan reached now? How did he increase his cultivation at such an unbelievable rate in just a few decades? Xingping thought to himself. As he was filled with fear, he also felt extremely shocked. I will drop the matter of the past. However, from today onwards, if your Taoist sect of Calm Clouds dares to do anything to the Tian Yuan clan, I will definitely destroy you, Jian Chen said coldly. How would we dare? Jian Chen departed from the Taoist sect of Calm Clouds. He stood outside the formations and subconsciously looked in the direction of the Earth Spirit sect. However, he did not go there in the end. His grievances with the Earth Spirit sect had already been resolved under the assistance of the Divine King back then. The elder of the Earth Spirit sect would guard the Tian Yuan clan for 10,000 years to make up for it. However, at this moment, Jian Chen's heart suddenly tingled. He felt an urge and began to peer into certain matters. Peering into things was an ability that all experts possessed. They would use their comprehension of the ways of the world to peer into a fraction of the heavenly secrets and deeper secrets of the world. However, as the comprehension of the ways of the world varied from cultivation to cultivation, their ability would vary as well. Jian Chen's eyes suddenly became as profound as the cosmos as streaks of light from the laws appeared. At that moment, his eyes seemed to become a part of the ways, allowing him to see the secrets of the world. This process lasted for around 8 minutes. In that short amount of time, Jian Chen depleted half of the power of his soul. Peering into the heavenly secrets, into the past and the future, placed an extremely great burden on the soul. Aside from grand primes, no one could keep it up for very long. As it turns out, the ancestor of the Earth Spirit sect, Sang Tu, was so easy to negotiate with not because of the Divine King but because Fairy Hao Yu had paid a visit. Jian Chen understood some of the hidden details. However, he did not manage to see Fairy Hao Yu. After all, Jian Chen was still unable to peer into any matters regarding her with his current strength. He could only infer from what he saw from the heavenly secrets. After I left the Cloud Plain, the Tian Yuan clan faced a great crisis. They were almost destroyed by the 9th Prince of the Blood Sun Empire. It was because the Flower of Ways in the Een Mountains of Seven's despair belonged to the 9th Prince. The reason why the 9th Prince was able to trace it back to the Tian Yuan clan involved the ancestor of the Earth Spirit sect, Sang Tu, Jian Chen murmured softly. His voice was frigid. His sudden urge had shed light onto some unknown secrets. In the next moment, he flew off to the Earth Spirit sect with Heya as a streak of light. Very soon, Jian Chen arrived at the Earth Spirit sect. His identity was no longer the same as before, so the Earth Spirit sect received him as the Taoist sect of Calm Clouds did. Sang Tu led all the elders to receive Jian Chen with quite a grand ceremony, welcoming him. Jian Chen sat in the main seat within the hall of the Earth Spirit sect. He cut right to the chase. He directly stared at Sang Tu and said with a sunken face, "Originally, my grievances with the Earth Spirit sect were resolved. I did not plan on coming to the Earth Spirit sect, but I did in the end." Sang Tu, do you know why? I do not. I hope the Patriarch can explain. Sang Tu clasped his fist as he experienced a multitude of feelings. Jian Chen was only an overgod in the past, an ant-like existence that he could easily crush. Yet, in just a few decades, he had become someone so great that he needed to grovel before him. In the past, you almost destroyed the Tian Yuan clan. If the emperor of the Shi Empire had not arrived in time, the Tian Yuan clan would no longer exist in the Dong'an province. Jian Chen stressed every syllable. His voice was chilling. It had surging killing intent. Sang Tu's heart sank from that. He sensed that things were taking a bad turn, but he behaved like he was innocent, acting like he had no idea at all. No, I didn't. Patriarch, there must have been some misunderstanding. The only way for others to not know what you have done is to not do it in the first place. Sang Tu, did you really think that no one would know as long as you hid it well? It is impossible to keep anything hidden from someone far more powerful than you, Jian Chen said coldly. Patriarch, I don't understand. If you insist that I once brought a crisis onto the Tian Yuan clan, please show me evidence, or I will never accept it, Sang Tu said through gritted teeth. In reality, he already understood what Jian Chen was referring to. However, he knew that Jian Chen had no evidence because he had left behind no traces at all. It was impossible to find anything through investigation. Jian Chen ignored Sang Tu's objection. He said to himself, even though the Daoist sect of Calm Clouds tried to assassinate me in the past, I only made the people involved cut off an arm of theirs because they only targeted me. They did not lay their hands on the people around me. However, you almost destroyed the entire Tian Yuan clan. Back then, there were many people in the Tian Yuan clan whose lives I hold even more dearly than my own. However, you almost doomed them all. Sang Tu, what do you think you deserve? Before Sang Tu could reply, Jian Chen continued, the only thing you deserve is death. With that, Jian Chen charged towards Sang Tu as a streak of light. He was unbelievably fast, to the point where Sang Tu could not respond. He shot past Sang Tu as a streak of light and stopped at the entrance of the hall, facing everyone with his back. Sang Tu's eyes immediately blanked out. They became hollow and dull. At that moment, a thin red line appeared on his forehead. As the line grew longer, his entire head split open right down the middle. Sang Tu was dead. Chapter 25-30. A battle at the apex. All the elders gathered in the hall were left stunned as they stared at Sang Tu, whose head had been cut in half. Disbelief filled their faces. Sang Tu, the ancestor of the Earth Spirit sect, was a mighty primordial realm expert, yet he had been slain so easily right before them, unable to fight back at all. All of them struggled to accept this. After all, the strongest among them were only god kings. Primordial realm experts were supreme existences in their eyes. They were invincible and insurmountable, figures they could only look up to. However, a primordial realm expert had just been slain in a single blow right before them. Their invincible impression of primordial realm experts immediately crumbled. Very soon, the god kings returned to their senses. Sorrow filled all of their faces, and tears streaked across some of their faces. The hall was extremely quiet. Even though the elders were overwhelmed by their feelings, none of them dared to make a sound. None of them dared to object. They all knew that the fate of the Earth Spirit sect now lay in the hands of the patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan. As a result, even when their ancestor, their only primordial realm expert, was slain before them, they dared not make a sound at all. After killing Sang Tu, Jian Chen did not trouble the elders of the Earth Spirit sect because he did not see any of the elders being involved when he peered into the heavenly secrets. Afterwards, he exited the hall and shot off into the distance as a streak of light. He departed from the Earth Spirit sect. Heiya stared at the ancestor's corpse with mixed feelings as he felt amazed inside. A second heavenly layer Infinite Prime could not even withstand a single blow from Master. Master's increase in strength is just too terrifying. If this continues, Master will reach Chaotic Prime before long. Heiya followed behind Jian Chen and left the Earth Spirit sect while feeling amazed. However, at this moment, the entire starry space beyond the cloud plane suddenly warped. In that instant, the sun stopped shining, and the sea of stars vanished. The cloud plane descended into complete darkness. It was completely pitch black, with no light at all. Jian Chen came to a halt outside the Earth Spirit sect. He raised his head to look at the sky, and his expression immediately became extremely stern. Like swords, his eyes shone as two streaks of white light, piercing through space and the darkness to see the depths of the universe. At the same time, 5 figures appeared in the 4 symbols alliance of the southern region. They were also stern as they stared at outer space in shock. The Lord of the Heavens Link Peak, who originally sat on the top of the mountain, suddenly stood up in the central region. He was also alarmed as he stared at outer space in shock. Only a terrifyingly powerful pressure appeared. No one knew what was happening there. When everything cleared up again, the light around the supreme expert who first appeared from the spatial crack dimmed. The power of ways around him thinned out, revealing his appearance. It's the heaven-splitting ancestor. The Lord of the Heavens Link Peak cried out from the central region. Above the cloud plane, one of the 2 supreme experts was the ancestor of the heaven-splitting clan, an existence who stood at the apex of the saints' world, someone only second to Grand Exalts. However, at this moment, his face was extremely pale, sheet white, as a matter of fact. He seemed to have aged as blood oozed from the corner of his mouth. He was already heavily injured. The authority of the Grand Exalt is indeed very powerful, but it's still not enough to kill me. The heaven-splitting ancestor said calmly and relaxedly. Even though he was badly wounded, he did not care at all. Afterwards, he fused with the space there, combining with the ways of the world before shooting off in an instant. He vanished from the space there. The shining woman behind him vanished as well. She pursued him relentlessly. With their departure, the abnormalities of the cloud plane gradually vanished, and the sky slowly cleared up. However, Jian Chen was heavy-hearted. He said nothing. He did not even think about the battle that occurred beyond the cloud plane. He made his way back to the Pingtian Empire as quickly as he could. Very soon, he returned. He only became relieved when he learnt that everyone was fine. He clearly saw that the hand had fallen towards the Dong'an province. Fortunately, it had been stopped. It was the battle between the First Majesty and the heaven-splitting ancestor. Very soon, Jian Chen met up with Ming Dong, and he finally learnt the true identities of the 2 supreme experts. Who knows what's going on with the First Majesty, suddenly coming into conflict with the heaven-splitting ancestor as if they have deep grievances. She has already chased the heaven-splitting ancestor around for decades now. Ming Xia sighed gently as he felt extremely troubled. I can tell that the heaven-splitting ancestor is already heavily injured. His protective light has been dispersed. He shouldn't be able to last much longer, Jian Chen said. He had no good impression of the heaven-splitting ancestor. No matter why the First Majesty of the Heavenly Palace of Bisheng was hunting him down, he was naturally happy to see the heaven-splitting ancestor suffer. It's not as simple as you imagine it to be. It seems like the First Majesty is definitely much more powerful than the heaven-splitting ancestor, but they are at the same level of cultivation after all. As a result, defeating the heaven-splitting ancestor is easy, but killing him will be extremely difficult. Chapter 25-31, Newbies in Danger. Jian Chen frowned from that as his heart became rather heavy. He had already witnessed the strength of the First Majesty of the Heavenly Palace of Bisheng. When he fused with the samsaric immortal Exalt soul back in the Neptunian Divine Palace, he had praised the First Majesty that she was only a step away from becoming a Grand Exalt. In other words, the first majesty of the heavenly palace of Bisheng, Exian, was extremely close to becoming a grand exalt. However, she actually struggled to kill the heaven-splitting ancestor, which reflected the strength of the heaven-splitting ancestor instead. They really are ninth heavenly layer grand primes after all. Every single supreme expert like that was a supreme prodigy who stood invincible among their cultivation level in the past. Jian Chen was secretly amazed. He gained a new understanding of the heaven-splitting ancestor's strength. Ninth Majesty, it is no longer safe for you to remain in the Tian Yuan clan, as the heaven-splitting ancestor came for you, Ming Xia said to Ming Dong sternly. He was responsible for Ming Dong's safety. Now that the heaven-splitting ancestor eyed Ming Dong, it made Ming Xia extremely uneasy. There would be nothing he could do before a supreme expert only second to grand exalts. He's come for me? Because my first senior sister is hunting him down? Ming Dong replied rather sternly with questions. That's right. The heaven-splitting ancestor has already been hunted down by the First Majesty for several decades now. This matter has already spread across the Saints' world. It has been a great hit to the heaven-splitting ancestor's name, basically humiliating him completely. As a result, the heaven-splitting ancestor feels resentment and plans on laying his hands on you. He wants to either capture you or kill you for what he is going through. After all, anyone would hold resentment after being chased around for several decades, let alone someone as great as the heaven-splitting ancestor, said Ming Xia. But isn't my master present? I refuse to believe he'll really be able to kill me. And first senior sister is there as well. I'll just stay here, Ming Dong said stubbornly. At this moment, an attendant reported that the leaders of the Four Symbols Alliance and the Righteous Alliance had come to visit. Even the Lord of the Heavens Link Peak was present. After all the primordial realm experts on the cloud plane had witnessed what happened just then. A supreme expert wanted to attack the Tian Yuan clan, but he was stopped by another supreme expert. Moreover, the heaven-splitting ancestor had already been identified out of the two of them. The other person's identity became obvious. After all, the First Majesty of the Heavenly Palace of Bisheng's pursuit of the heaven-splitting ancestor had already raised quite the hubbub in the Saints' world. Everyone learned about it several decades ago. A battle at such a level was just too terrifying and shocking. It was impossible to hide it. As long as they passed near a plane, abnormalities would occur in the sky of the plane, allowing everyone on there to sense what was happening. As a result, all the supreme experts of the cloud plane understood that it was the First Majesty hunting down the heaven-splitting ancestor, and they realized the heaven-splitting ancestor wanted to target Ming Dong. This made the peak experts of the cloud plane even less inclined towards provoking Ming Dong instead. Ming Dong naturally ignored their visit, but Jian Chen was unable to turn a blind eye to them. He received them as the patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan. After all, they were extremely influential figures on the cloud plane. He could not give them the cold shoulder. The First Majesty of the Heavenly Palace of Bisheng cares for Ming Dong so much. It looks like Ming Dong is definitely the First Majesty's disciple. The First Majesty of the Heavenly Palace of Bisheng has hunted down the heaven-splitting ancestor for so long, but never have we heard of her using the authority of the Grand Exalt. When the heaven-splitting ancestor attacked the Tian Yuan clan earlier, he directly infuriated her, making her use a trump card like the authority of the Grand Exalt. That's more than enough to show just how much the First Majesty cares for Ming Dong. We need to treat Ming Dong carefully. If we can establish ties with the Heaven Palace of Bisheng, it will be a great joyous matter. The visiting leaders discussed with one another secretly. None of them knew Ming Dong's true identity. They subconsciously believed he was the disciples of the First Majesty. Just as Jian Chen was receiving the leaders of the two alliances, an unwelcomed guest appeared in the forbidden grounds of the Tian Yuan clan. It was a woman. She was beautiful and extremely quiet. She seemed otherworldly in her white dress. She appeared before Ming Dong all of a sudden. The powerful formations that Ming Xia had cast around the Tian Yuan clan were basically non-existent before her. Eighth senior sister, why do you come? Ming Dong's face immediately lit up happily when he saw the woman. In the years he spent in the heavenly palace of Bisheng, he was the most familiar with his 8th senior sister, Biyao. At the same time, Biyao was the one who had guided him the most. Greetings to the 8th Majesty. Ming Xia bowed from beside Ming Dong, and even Yun Xiaoyan showed respect. 9th Junior, the heaven-splitting ancestor has begun eyeing you. It's time for you to return. It's no longer safe for you to remain outside. The first thing that Biyao said was for Ming Dong to return. She spoke indifferently and very softly. She did not treat the heaven-splitting ancestor like he was a big deal, but she dared not overlook him either. Ming Dong refused without any hesitation. He insisted on staying in the Tian Yuan clan, and he even brought up their master. Biyao sighed gently and showed powerlessness. Although Master has already recovered and Masters will can descend anywhere to protect you, you know exactly what kind of existence Master is. As disciples, we should not create a lot of trouble for Master. 8th Junior, I won't force you to leave since you insist on staying, but I would advise you to leave soon. With that, Biyao departed. Just like how she had come, she left silently, without leaving behind a single trace at all. In the blink of an eye, a year had passed. During that year, everything remained the same on the cloud plain. Nothing changed. However, the Tian Yuan clan did continue to expand rapidly. It held a very great status, and its heritage gradually deepened from the tremendous amount of resources and heavenly resources from the Heavenly Moon Empire. The First Majesty of the Heavenly Palace of Bisheng, Exian, continued to hunt down the heaven-splitting ancestor in outer space. This matter became a hot topic among all the primordial realm experts in the Saints' world. They all guessed at the reason. It had been a year since Nubis and Protector Shui went to the Delight Plane as well. They still had not returned. On this day, Jianchen sat in his residence and cultivated within the clan. However, his eyes suddenly snapped open, and 3 pieces of jade appeared in his hand. They had all been crushed. Jianchen's face immediately sank when he saw the crushed jade talismans. Before Nubis left, he had given Nubis 3 talismans that were mutually linked. If one was crushed, it meant he needed reinforcement. If 2 were crushed, it meant that he was in danger and needed help. If 3 were crushed, it meant that he faced an extremely dangerous situation, where his life was in danger. Nubis is in danger. Jianchen's heart tightened when he saw the 3 crushed jade talismans. He immediately stopped cultivating and vanished from his residence silently. All protectors gather as quickly as possible. At the same time, Jianchen passed down an order to summon all the primordial realm experts in the clan. With that, all the primordial realm protectors put down their matters and emerged from cultivation, appearing before Jianchen as quickly as possible. The Patriarch's order had a completely different effect compared to the past. When Jianchen used it the first time, it took them several minutes for 15 primordial realm experts to gather in the main hall. But this time, in less than 5 seconds, all the primordial realm protectors arrived before him, awaiting his orders. Senior Su. Jianchen stood there emotionlessly with a sunken face as he contacted Su Ran. With that, Su Ran appeared before him. She looked at Jianchen calmly and asked, "Have you come across any problems?" Su Ran's arrival surprised all the primordial realm protectors there. Has something big happened? The Patriarch has even called over Senior Su. The primordial realm protectors were in doubt. Chapter 25-32, A Sly Old Fox. Nubi's life is in danger. He has asked for help. Protector Shui accompanied him, but even Protector Shui with his cultivation as a 7th heavenly layer infinite prime can't handle the problem. I can only ask Senior Su to accompany me to the Delight Plane just in case. Jianchen clasped his fist. Su Ran nodded. Her expression did not change as she asked, "When do we set off?" The situation is extremely urgent. We need to set off immediately. Jianchen immediately passed down an order. Jian, Su Ran, and all the primordial realm protectors left the Tian Yuan clan in an imposing manner. Originally, only the central region of the Cloud Plain had interplanar teleportation formations, but ever since the Four Symbols Alliance settled down in the southern region, they expended a tremendous amount of resources to build one in the southern region as well. It happened to be in the imperial capital of the Blood Sun Empire. When the patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan arrived in the Blood Sun Empire with such a large group of primordial realm experts, he immediately alarmed the emperor of the Blood Sun Empire. He ventured out from the imperial palace personally, and even the upper echelon of the Four Symbols Alliance paid close attention. Of course, the person who became the most worried and afraid by Jian Chen's sudden arrival in the imperial city was the ninth prince. What did you say? The patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan, Jian Chen, has suddenly appeared in the imperial city with a group of primordial realm experts? The ninth prince immediately became restless when he received the news. He became unsettled as he paced around in his residence. When he pursued the matter of the Flower of Ways in the past, he had almost destroyed the Tian Yuan clan. If it were not for the sudden arrival of the emperor of the Shi Empire at a critical moment, saving the clan, the name of the Tian Yuan clan would probably cease to exist in the southern region. As a result, his grievances with the Tian Yuan clan ran very deep. Now that he learnt that Jian Chen had come to the Blood Sun Empire, the ninth prince would obviously become utterly panic-stricken. I have an agreement with Princess Shiyu of the Shi Empire for a battle to the death in 10,000 years' time. It's not very likely for Jian Chen to kill me during those 10,000 years, the ninth prince thought to himself. He clenched his hands as he broke out into a cold sweat. He was extremely nervous. He could only comfort himself like that now. He understood just how great of a status the patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan possessed. Because of Ming Dong, both the Four Symbols Alliance and the Righteous Alliance did their best to befriend them, not daring to offend them. Their Blood Sun Empire was only one of the organizations under the Four Symbols Alliance. Honestly, they were equivalent to the Four Symbols Alliance's dog. With Jian Chen's status as the patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan, even executing the current emperor was nothing difficult, let alone a prince who had lost power. The Blood Emperor had already arrived before Jian Chen as quickly as he could. Very soon, he learnt that Jian Chen wanted to take the teleportation to the Delight Plane, so he immediately let out a breath in relief. He personally saw Jian Chen off, letting him use the teleportation formation for free. Very soon, the group left the Cloud Plane through the teleportation formation. What? The patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan has left? He has left the Cloud Plane? He hasn't come for me? The news reached the ninth prince very soon, which immediately overjoyed him. He finally relaxed, feeling like he had just survived a disaster. It looks like the patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan also wants to wait for the battle between me and Shiyu in 10,000 years' time. It's very unlikely for me to survive, but there's still quite some time before the agreed period. The ninth prince exhaled deeply before asking a female attendant beside him, Huan, how many years are there till my battle against Princess Shiyu? Your Highness, there are still over 9,900 years, the female attendant replied. Over 9,900 years, the ninth prince murmured softly. He was gloomy. Was that all the time he had left? In a bustling city within the central region of the Delight Plane, the interplanar teleportation formation suddenly lit up in the large square. When the light completely dispersed, Jian Chen, Su Ran, and the protectors of the Tian Yuan clan all stood in there. They did not want to raise too much attention with their visit this time, so they all concealed their presences, preventing the other cultivators from seeing their cultivation. Heya, immediately locate them, Jian Chen was burning with anxiety. Before he had even emerged from the teleportation formation, he had already ordered Heya. Nubis had crushed the 3 jade talismans, so his situation was extremely urgent. He could die at any moment, so they could not afford to waste any time at all. Heya could see how worried Jian Chen was as well. He nodded and closed his eyes without saying anything else, using his innate ability. He had seen all the important members of the Tian Yuan clan before, so finding Nubis and Protector Shui was nothing difficult. I found them. They're over there. Very soon, He pointed in one direction and said, however, Nubis and Protector Shui are in different locations, Master. There are 10 million kilometers between them. Jian Chen frowned. He ordered, lead the way. Go to where Nubis is first. The group immediately shot off with lightning speed. There was an endless chain of mountains at the border of the Delight Plain. The mountains rose and fell, seeming like a yellow, boundless ocean from the sky. The mountains had no presence of life. It seemed deathly silent and extremely barren. However, there was a huge valley in the depths of the mountains and flames roared at the bottom of it. These were not regular flames, but flames that contained the power of laws. As they roared, they gave off terrifying heat, dyeing the sky red. The flames hovered in the air and covered an extremely vast area, spanning over 10,000 kilometers. All the space within that range was enveloped by the flames. Arg, chilling howls would ring out from the flames from time to time. They were filled with pain, as if the person howling was going through the most brutal torture in the world. A thin but extremely long golden snake writhed violently in the flames. It struggled painfully as it endured the flames. It was miserable. Under the flames, the golden snake almost seemed to become cooked. It gave off quite a fragrance as the vital essences within it drifted out slowly from the flames. He, kid, struggle and howl as much as you want, as those are the last sounds you'll be able to make in this wonderful world. In another 6 hours, all your vital essences will be refined. A black-robed old man laid on the ground lazily outside the roaring flames. He held a wine gourd, sipping from it from time to time. He constructed a small bonfire beside him, roasting a meter-long beast on there. He enjoyed his alcohol as he looked at the golden snake struggling painfully in the flames. He was satisfied. It's very rare to come across other golden-striped silver snakes in the Saints' world. Your arrival both surprised me and caused me great joy. For the sake of finding other clansmen and breaking through with their essence, I traveled across most of the Saints' world, but I only found around a dozen. After absorbing all their essence, I struggled to find another one in the Saints' world. Of course, I do know that there are still many in the Saints' world, but the weaker ones all hide far too well. Finding them is almost impossible, while I don't even dare to provoke or even approach the stronger ones. I have to hide from them carefully. There are fewer and fewer people I can feast on. Kid, did you really think the news you received came from your investigations? I'll tell you the truth. Everything you know was purposefully leaked by me, just to draw you over. I heard that whatever clan on the Cloud Plane had a 9th heavenly chaotic prime, so I could not risk it myself. As a result, I purposefully leaked the news so that you would come out from the clan. In the end, you really did fall for it. The black-robed old man laughed aloud. He stared at the vital essence that wafted out from the flames as he became restless. Chapter 25-33, Close to Death. You old bastard, don't you dare celebrate so soon. If you kill me, my brother will definitely avenge me. You will follow in my steps very soon. I'll just be leaving before you, Nubis said weakly from within the roaring flames. His life force rapidly drained away, as most of his unique essence as a golden-striped silver snake had been refined. He could not last much longer. Your brother? Kid, you're only a peak god king, so how powerful can your brother be? Don't tell me the 9th heavenly layer chaotic prime in your clan is your brother? The old man mocked him. He took a voracious sip of his alcohol and continued, would really be done for if it's a 9th heavenly layer chaotic prime, but do you think I'm as brainless as you? How is it possible for you to establish ties with an expert like that with your cultivation? Moreover, this is the Delight Plane, not the Cloud Plane. Your whatever clan might have some status on the Cloud Plane, but if they want to act brazenly on the Delight Plane, they'll definitely be destroyed in just a few days. That's because the Delight Plane is completely under the control of the Cloud Zurge Empire. I am a subject of the Cloud Zurge Empire, as well as the master of the Imperial Princes, the black-robed old man said proudly. It was as if he was proud of his own identity. Moreover, the current emperor of the Klausurge Empire has close ties with me. Even if that 9th heavenly layer chaotic prime from your whatever clan arrives personally, he won't be able to do anything to me. You're joking if you want to talk about revenge. The black-robed old man laughed aloud fearlessly. Nubis no longer said anything else. Even his cries of pain gradually vanished. His life force had become extremely weak, so weak that he could no longer produce any sounds. He was getting closer and closer to death now. The black-robed old man did not speak anymore either. He lay there lazily, drinking his liquor as he waited for his delicious food to be cooked. His stomach seemed to rumble. Half an hour later, Nubis had already collapsed powerlessly on the ground in his original form. His life was in danger, and he was taking his last breaths. He was only a step away from death, but even when he faced death, there was an intense sense of unwillingness in his eyes. He stubbornly kept his eyes open, staring right at the black-robed old man with his weak, hollow eyes. He refused to close his eyes. He was unwilling to die like this. He still had a grand objective. He always wanted to stand at the apex of cultivation. He wanted to become a peak expert who could look down on all. How could he just die here? At this moment, he guarded his last sliver of essence purely with his great will and desire to survive. He battled against death. However, Nubis' stubborn will gradually turned into a mysterious power under the pressure of death. It awakened the potential hidden within his bloodline. Immediately, Nubis felt his body spring to life. A new power gushed out from his bloodline, filling every inch of his body. At the same time, he suddenly began to shine brilliantly, illuminating the sky. He stood out from the red flames. He had already shed his burnt scales, growing a new set of glistening, golden scales. In particular, 2 sharp, meaty stubs appeared on his head. The bloodline has changed. It has actually evolved. The black-robed old man squinted as he became excited. He immediately stood up and studied the evolved Nubis as he clapped and praised. Good, good, good. I never thought you would be able to evolve at a time like this, allowing your bloodline to progress to a higher level. The heavens really are smiling at me. The greater your bloodline is, the more useful it is to me as well. At this moment, Nubis bellowed out. He shone with dazzling light as he began to charge out with all the strength he possessed. Bang! In the end, he crashed into a wall completely composed of flames. The flames were actually from a formation. With Nubis' strength, even after his bloodline evolved, he was unable to break free from the restraints of the formation. Hee, you want to escape? Quit dreaming. The black-robed old man sniggered as he seemed like he was about to drool. Nubis' evolution tempted him even more. He no longer wanted to wait anymore. Afterwards, he charged into the flames with a flash and grabbed Nubis with his skinny hand, directly devouring his essence. The difference in strength was just too great. Even after evolving, Nubis was as puny as an ant in the old man's hands. He could not resist at all. Nubis immediately became haggard and his essence was devoured. The old man was a chaotic prime. He purposefully leaked the lie that he was a 5th heavenly layer infinite prime to Nubis to draw him out. At this moment, the space there trembled, and a powerful presence flooded out, enveloping the entire region. 3 figures appeared beside the roaring flames. They gave off the presences of primordial realm experts. They were Jian Chen, Heiya, and Su Ran. Jian Chen was worried about Nubis' safety, so he broke away from the group and hurried off first with Heiya and Su Ran. Nubis. As soon as Jian Chen arrived, he discovered Nubis and how his essence was being devoured. He immediately became furious as killing intent surged from his body. Su Ran remained indifferent and calm, but she had already raised her old, skinny hand gently. She extended a finger ahead. That directly destroyed the space there. A devastating power shot out and pierced through the formation of flames. Immediately, the terrifying flames suddenly vanished from the surroundings, revealing Nubis and the black-robed old man. The destruction of the formation alarmed the black-robed old man. He immediately stopped absorbing Nubis' essence and stared at Su Ran with an ugly expression. He said coldly, "Who are you? Why are you getting in my way? Do you know who I am?" Jian-Chen, Nubis said weakly as he saw Jian-Chen as well. His lips curled into a miserable smile as his eyes were dim. He was close to death. Jian-Chen's face had already darkened from anger when he saw how miserable Nubis had become. Killing intent surged within him as he bellowed out furiously. Wielding the 9-star sword of heavenly ways, he turned into a streak of resplendent light and stabbed at the old man. The black-robed old man swung his hand, and the power of primordial realm laws descended. The terrifying energy surged, striking Jian-Chen as a streak of light. Boom! Jian-Chen shook after being struck, and the protective light around him dimmed. He's a second heavenly layer chaotic prime and has rather impressive battle prowess. He can challenge those stronger than him, so leave him to me, Su Ran said indifferently and struck out decisively. The terrifying pressure of a fifth heavenly layer chaotic prime erupted, immediately frightening the black-robed old man. The fifth heavenly layer, no, even more powerful than the fifth heavenly layer. The black-robed old man produced a strange cry before retreating with lightning speed with Nubis in his hands. He did not want to fight. Chapter 25-34, Rescue. However, how could Su Ran allow him to do that? With a single movement, Su Ran crossed the distance and appeared before the black-robed old man instantly. She extended her hand with the mysteries of the world. It was like the hand resonated with the world as it stretched directly towards the black-robed old man. The black-robed old man's face changed drastically. His pupils immediately shrunk to the size of pin tips. There was some fright and shock. He felt like his soul was trapped as he faced Su Ran's palm strike. The palm strike contained some kind of charm from the ways, imprisoning his soul there. The palm strike seemed to be imbued with some sort of sealing power as well, causing the circulation of energy within him to become sluggish as if it had become thick mud. Hiss! The black-robed old man immediately assumed his original form. He was a golden-striped silver snake that was only 10 meters long and 3 fingers thick. From afar, he seemed like a piece of rope. However, although he and Nubis were both golden-striped silver snakes, they took completely different paths of evolution. Nubis' body gradually became pure gold, while the black-robed old man evolved towards an inky green. This was a development of venom. Clearly, the black-robed old man's evolution was skewed towards venom. The venom of golden-striped silver snakes was extremely potent and vicious. It was enough to be ranked among the top 3 back on the Tian-Yuan continent. However, such a ranking was only restricted to a lower world like where the Tian-Yuan continent resided. In a higher world, the poison of golden-striped silver snakes was nothing special. As a result, if they wanted to maintain their advantage of deadly venom, they needed to strengthen it. Clearly, the black-robed old man had chosen that path. A dazzling green light suddenly appeared on the golden-striped silver snake's body. An invisible type of venom that could not be sensed with even the soul rapidly spread towards Su Ran. When he released the venom, the black-robed old man squirmed, and the space around him distorted violently, forming ripples upon ripples. He temporarily broke free from Su Ran's restraint before shooting off into the distance with Nubis in a flash. He covered 10,000 kilometers in an instant, fleeing off into the distance without any hesitation at all. He knew Su Ran's strength. Although he could challenge those at higher cultivation levels, he definitely could not challenge a 5th heavenly layer chaotic prime whilst at the 2nd heavenly layer. Moreover, his current opponent was no regular 5th heavenly layer chaotic prime. So what if you're a 5th heavenly layer chaotic prime? Once I return to the Cloud Surge Empire and get reinforcements, I'll make you pay a huge price, the black-robed old man thought as he fled towards the Cloud Surge Empire as quickly as he could. Back up, there's venom. Su Ran called out. She gave off a strange presence, where she seemed to fuse with the world. She took a step and broke free from the restraints of space, appearing before the black-robed old man in an instant. She directly blocked his path and extended her skinny hand towards him. Su Ran seemed to use the power of ways with that, sealing up the surroundings and creating a prison where the black-robed old man stood. Space shrank up violently. The black-robed old man immediately felt his body sink. A power that he could not fight off pressed in from all directions, directly immobilizing him there. The black-robed old man was shocked. He was trapped and immobilized, and even the circulation of his energy became extremely sluggish. He felt life-threatening danger from his current situation. So powerful. Where did this old woman come from? Why is she such a deviant? The black-robed old man cursed inside. The battle prowess that Su Ran displayed astounded him, almost frightening him to death. He could no longer care about Nubi's essence. He immediately used a secret technique, and a large, green cloud of mist suddenly erupted from his body. He vanished within the mist. However, before he vanished, a strand of sword chi condensed from powerful energy ripped through the space there, cutting through his body. It severed his long body into two. Arg! The black-robed old man called out as he fled. His ability to flee really is impressive, Su Ran murmured as she stared in the direction that the black-robed old man had fled in. She wanted to pursue, but she had completely lost contact with his presence already. Very soon, a streak of light flew over, and Jian Chen appeared before Su Ran. He stared at the empty space and asked, "Senior Su, where's the person?" He managed to escape. This person's ability to flee is very great. I failed to keep him here, Su Ran said. I've troubled you, Senior Su. Jian Chen clasped his hands and thanked Su Ran before immediately tending to Nubi's. He immediately took out a few god-tier pills and fed them to him. Most of Nubi's essence had been absorbed, and he had almost been cooked under the flames. However, he managed to endure it all in the end and did not die. Nubi's wounds stabilized with the pills. However, he was just too heavily injured, so he could not make a complete recovery without a long period of time. Brother, fortunately, you made it in time, or I, the great Nubis, would really be dead. I won't be able to achieve my great dream either. Nubis assumed a human form again and lay on the ground powerlessly. He looked at Jian Chen with his dim, dull eyes as he spoke feebly. Jian Chen took out a few more god-tier pills and fed them to Nubis. He said sternly, "Nubis, I will avenge you. I was careless. I never thought the old snake would be so sly, purposefully leaking false information to draw me over. Jian Chen, hurry up and take me back to that place earlier. There's still a portion of essence that the old snake didn't absorb there. This essence is the lifeblood of my species." Afterwards, Jian Chen brought Nubis back to the place where he had been cooked in the flames. As soon as he arrived, Nubis lay down on the ground and began absorbing the essence that wafted through the air. I only managed to get a tenth back. The rest has all been absorbed by the old snake. God damn it, I've lost 70% of my essence, Nubis said through gritted teeth. He was extremely pained. The essence was simply far too important to his species because it affected the evolution of their bloodline and their future accomplishments. Suddenly, Nubis seemed to think of something. His face suddenly changed, and he said in a hurry, "Jian Chen, quick, go save Protector Shui. He was injured by the old snake and poisoned. The old snake's venom is extremely potent. He can even poison experts of the same level to death, so Protector Shui won't be able to last very long with his strength." Chapter 25-35. Meeting Yashi Lian again. Jian Chen nodded and hurried off in Protector Shui's direction with Nubis. Protector Shui was 10 million kilometers away, but with Heyev by his side, Jian Chen found him effortlessly. Currently, Protector Shui sat within a cave enveloped by formations as he did his best to suppress the venom. His situation was very pessimistic. The venom had basically spread across his entire body, turning his skin an inky green. His life force constantly drained away. Even his soul had become contaminated with some of the venom, causing it to dim. Even if he abandoned his body and fled with his soul now, it would be useless. Fortunately, he has the 100 Spirits Jade. He's slowing down the spread of the venom with it, or he would have been reduced to a puddle of blood by now. Su Ran easily dealt with the formation and appeared before Protector Shui. Jian Chen looked over, and indeed, he discovered a piece of milky white jade in Protector Shui's mouth. Feed him 100 nullification pill to suppress the poison first, Su Ran said to Jian Chen before placing her hand on Protector Shui's head. Great, pure power surged out constantly, beginning to suppress the venom in Protector Shui's body. Jian Chen rummaged through his space ring and finally found a bottle of 100 nullification pills, feeding it to Protector Shui. The venom within him is extremely potent. I don't have the ability to nullify it. I can only keep it suppressed temporarily and prevent it from spreading. We need to find that snake to purge it, said Su Ran sternly a while later as she removed her hand from Protector Shui's head. Newbies, do you know the origins of that golden-striped silver snake? Jian Chen asked. Newbies was extremely feeble. He only managed to stand on his feet with Heiya's support. He carefully thought back and said, I don't know about his exact origins, but I do remember him mentioning that he served some Cloud Zurge Empire. The Cloud Zurge Empire? Jian Chen murmured. He had no impression of this empire at all. In reality, this was the first time he had come to the Delight Plane. He knew nothing about the situation here. Patriarch, don't save me. My life isn't worth it. Just let me die here. Protector Shui opened his eyes at this moment. Resolution flooded his eyes as if he had already accepted death. Patriarch, the only thing I cannot let go before I die is my clan's young master. I hope the Patriarch can take care of the young master for the sake of whatever contribution I've made to the clan. Don't let the young master die, pleaded Protector Shui as he passed a divine hall to Jian Chen. Staring at the divine hall, Jian Chen's eyes lit up. Protector Shui's origin surprised him a little. For a 7th heavenly layer infinite prime to call him young master, this young master's origins really could not be taken lightly. Suddenly, Su Ran looked outside the cave and said, someone is approaching here, and based on their presence, it seems like they're from the Empyrean demon cult. Jian Chen immediately became interested when he heard Su Ran mention the Empyrean demon cult. He immediately spread out the senses of his soul. However, Jian Chen's expression became strange soon afterwards. He thought to himself, why would it be her? The senses of his soul locked onto a graceful, alluring woman of enchanting beauty. Jian Chen was extremely familiar with this woman. He had grievances with her in the past. She was the commander of the 7th Army from the Empyrean demon cult's branch on the Cloud Plain, Yashi Lian. Yashi Lian was now a peak god king. Her enchanting face was filled with unwillingness and a sense of being wronged. She directly made her way towards where Jian Chen's group stood with some anger and humiliation. She was not alone. A white-haired, simply dressed old woman accompanied her. The old woman did not hide herself, but she did conceal her presence very well such that she seemed like an ordinary person. However, her traveling speed shocked Jian Chen. Chapter 2536, The Grand Elder of the Empyrean Demon Cult, Yashi Lian, you cannot forget my previous words. No matter how great your grievances with Jian Chen were in the past, you need to forget them all. Do you understand? The old woman who accompanied Yashi Lian suddenly looked at her as she spoke sternly. Yes, master. Yashi Lian bit her lip and agreed reluctantly. She felt humiliated. In the past, she was publicly humiliated by Fairy Hao Yu in the Xiandao Empire of the northern region of the Cloud Plain. She had already become filled with hatred. Fairy Hao Yu was too powerful, so there was nothing she could do about her. As a result, Yashi Lian shifted all the blame onto Jian Chen. She was about to see Jian Chen again, but her master had ordered her to hide any and all of her hatred. Yashi Lian naturally felt wronged after everything she went through. Although her original form was a nine-tailed fox, a species publicly renowned for their promiscuity, she truly guarded her integrity well, contrary to the rumors. This was because when she absorbed the essence of men, she did it by planting her hand on their heads. There was no close contact at all. In Jian Chen's case, Yaxi Lian wanted to join with him because of his chaotic force. She wanted to use that method to absorb his chaotic force. However, when she reached a critical moment, Fairy Hao Yu interrupted her. "Sai, even if I want to settle my grievances with him, what can I do? He's no longer the puny over-god that I could kill in the past. I'm not his opponent anymore." Yaxi Lian seemed to think it all through and sighed gently inside. She felt embittered. The Empyrean demon cult had branches across the saints' world, so they were extremely knowledgeable. Yaxi Lian possessed a rather high status in the Empyrean demon cult, so she knew quite a lot. She had heard a relatively high number of rumors regarding Jian Chen. Yaxi Lian arrived outside the cave where Jian Chen and the others gathered as she experienced these feelings. "Commander Yaxi Lian, we meet again." Jian Chen walked out from the cave. Behind him were Su Ran and the protectors of the Tian Yuan clan. At this moment, Jian Chen seemed like an important figure. Primordial realm protectors stood to his left and right, which enhanced his bearing. Jian Chen could not help but think about what had happened when he first met Yaxi Lian as he looked at her. Back then, Yaxi Lian was the commander of the 7th Army of the Empyrean Demon Cult, a great late god king, while he was only an over-god. Yaxi Lian was so powerful that she was undefeatable in his eyes at that time. As a matter of fact, he could not even escape from her. Now, a few decades later, he had already become a primordial realm expert, possessing the ability to kill late infinite primes, while Yaxi Lian remained as a late god king. This matter amazed Jian Chen. Yaxi Lian said nothing. However, the old woman beside her clasped her fist towards Jian Chen politely. "I am the Fox Saint Elder of the 8 Elders of the Empyrean Demon Cult. Greetings to the Patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan. Fox Saint Elder, you probably came especially for me. May I ask why you are looking for me?" Jian Chen looked at the Fox Saint Elder. He could vaguely sense her cultivation. She was roughly a 9th heavenly layer infinite prime. "Under the Grand Elder's orders, I've come to invite the Patriarch to our branch on the Delight Plain as a guest," said the Fox Saint Elder. Jian Chen was interested and asked, "Who's your Grand Elder?" "The Grand Elder's name is Qingming." "Qingming? I don't know him." The Grand Elder said that if the Patriarch is unwilling to come, I should show the Patriarch this, said the Fox Saint Elder before taking out a small and exquisite hairpin. Jian Chen's heart leapt when he saw the hairpin, as it was something that Xiao Ling always used. She had brought it up with her from the Tian Yuan continent. "Xiao Ling is there?" Jian Chen struggled to remain composed. The Fox Saint Elder nodded. "Let's go." "Lead the way immediately," Jian Chen said rather eagerly. "Patriarch, you must think it through." "They're the Empyrean Demon Cult," added many elders from behind Jian Chen. They were clearly in fear. There was basically no one from the Cloud Plain who did not fear the Empyrean Demon Cult. In particular, the Tian Empire had been as prominent as the midday sun a few decades ago and were about to conquer the entire plain, but they were destroyed by a single palm strike from the great elder of the Empyrean Demon Cult in the end. From then onwards, the Empyrean Demon Cult became the most terrifying organization in the eyes of all the primordial realm experts on the Cloud Plain. As a result, some of the protectors became extremely unsettled and fearful now that they met members of the Empyrean Demon Cult. "You don't need to worry." Jian Chen comforted everyone. Others did not know about the details of the Empyrean Demon Cult, but he did. The great elder of the Empyrean Demon Cult that all the peak experts of the Cloud Plain feared was Senior Mo Tianyun. Afterwards, Jian Chen made his way towards the branch of the Empyrean Demon Cult established on the Delight Plain under the Fox Saint Elder and Yaxi Lian's lead. This branch of the Empyrean Demon Cult was located towards the edge of the central region, on some extremely barren plains. This branch of the Empyrean Demon Cult was a completely black divine hall. It was of an impressive quality and possessed extremely great defenses. Within a range of 1,000,000 kilometers around the Divine Hall, demonic aura surged as dark clouds, blotting out the entire region permanently. Under the Fox Saint Elder's lead, Jian Chen's group entered the Divine Hall smoothly. As soon as they entered the Divine Hall, the protectors of the Tian Yuan clan immediately felt like they had just entered the belly of the beast. They could not help but experience chills. Jian Chen and Su Ran remained composed as they followed behind. Along the way, Yaxi Lian would glance back at Jian Chen time and time again. Her eyes were filled with mixed feelings, as well as resentment that was very well hidden. "Brother, are you confident in all this? Surely we're not just striding into the belly of the beast, right?" Nubis asked secretly at this moment. He was in fear. Even he felt no confidence about all this. Jian Chen shot him a glance to tell him to stop worrying and said nothing. The group traveled straight up, arriving on the highest floor of the Divine Hall very soon. In the end, they stopped within a rather gloomy hall. "Grand Elder, I have brought the patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan, Jian Chen," the Fox Saint Elder said politely. "You are dismissed." An obscure voice drifted out in the hall. It came from everywhere, making it impossible to identify where the person was. "Yes, sir." The Fox Saint Elder bowed once again before leaving politely with Yaxi Lian. After the Fox Saint Elder had left, a deep, blue light suddenly appeared in the gloomy hall. This was the glow of a soul. Only souls at a certain level of strength could emit such light. An illusionary old man appeared before Jian Chen silently. He seemed to be nothing special at all, where he would not stand out at all if he was thrown into a crowd. At this moment, his eyes were fixed on Jian Chen. He studied him carefully. He directly ignored the people behind Jian Chen, including even Su Ran. It was as if only Jian Chen existed before him, where even Su Ran struggled to raise any of his attention despite being a fifth heavenly layer chaotic prime. A soul? Jian Chen stared at the Grand Elder and was surprised. He could tell with a single glance that the Grand Elder before him did not have a body. He was just a soul, not even the clone of a soul. Chapter 2537, A Grand Plan. "Are you that elder brother that Xiao Ling keeps on mentioning, Jian Chen?" asked the Grand Elder of the Empyrean demon cult, Qingming. His gaze was gentle, and he smiled faintly. He seemed extremely cordial. "That's me. Greetings from Junior Jian Chen." Jian Chen clasped his fist and greeted him as a junior. He spoke indifferently, without being overly polite or respectful. He only truly respected Mo Tianyun out of the entire Empyrean demon cult. "Grand Elder, may I ask where Xiao Jin and Xiao Ling are?" Jian Chen followed up with a question. He had come to see Xiao Jin and Xiao Ling and get to know their situation. "They're here on the Delight Plain. I've already sent people to fetch them, so there's no need to worry." "Jian Chen, I haven't called you over this time just for Xiao Jin and Xiao Ling," Qingming said with an amiable smile. He did not seem like the authoritative Grand Elder of the Empyrean demon cult who could mobilize all the armies on a whim. "Let's talk elsewhere," said Qingming. With that, he and Jian Chen vanished from there, having been taken elsewhere by the power of the Divine Hall. Patriarch. Jian Chen's disappearance made many of the protectors nervous. They utterly feared the Empyrean demon cult. Now that they stood in the cult's den, all of them felt uneasy. Since Jian Chen is bold enough to bring you here, he naturally has confidence in protecting you. "What are you afraid of?" Su Ran said indifferently. She studied the Divine Hall with a deep gaze, as if she could see through everything there. Many primordial realm experts are hidden in the Divine Hall. There are even several obscure presences that have reached chaotic prime. Just what does the Empyrean demon cult plan on doing by gathering so many experts on the Delight Plane? After all, this is only one of their many branches across the Saints' world, not their headquarters, Su Ran thought. She stared at where Jian Chen had vanished from as the light in her eyes flickered. Jian Shen and Qingming suddenly appeared in a secret room within the divine hall. Jian Shen looked around before focusing on Qingming. May I ask what urgent matter the Grand Elder has come to me for? Jian Shen, you probably want to kill that golden-striped silver snake in the Cloud Zurge Empire, right? Qingming said. Jian Shen nodded. Whether it be for Protector Shui's poison or Nubi's lost essence, he needed to fight that golden-striped silver snake that had fled. Of course, most importantly, the golden-striped silver snake could allow Nubi's strength to increase even faster. Golden-striped silver snakes were a wondrous species. Their method of evolution was extremely brutal. They needed to constantly slaughter their own clansmen and devour their essence to evolve. Since they would turn on one another sooner or later for nourishment, Jian Shen obviously hoped that Nubis would be the one who obtained it all. That was because if Nubis did not devour them, they would devour Nubis. With his friendship with Nubis, how could he allow Nubis to become the food of other golden-striped silver snakes? The golden-striped silver snake in the Cloud Zurge Empire isn't as easy to deal with as you imagine him to be. First, he's well ingrained in the Cloud Zurge Empire. He's the master of many princes and has close ties with the current emperor of the Cloud Zurge Empire. As a result, his status in the empire is very great, well beyond other subjects. Moreover, his abilities to flee are extremely impressive. Even though he's only a second heavenly layer chaotic prime, even sixth or even seventh heavenly layer chaotic primes can't make him stay, said Qingming. He understood the golden-striped silver snake situation extremely well. I know you have a fifth heavenly layer chaotic prime by your side. Please forgive me for being straightforward, but if you go looking for that golden-striped silver snake with such strength, you'll only end up fleeing in defeat. The golden-striped silver snake is well established in the Cloud Zurge Empire and has good ties with many of the subjects. He can easily ask a few of them to deal with you. Unless you call that ninth heavenly layer chaotic prime in your Tian Yuan clan over, you won't be able to deal with something like that. Jian Shen frowned. He never thought a second heavenly layer chaotic prime would be so difficult to deal with. The Grand Elder must have other intentions for telling me this, Jian Shen said. Qingming nodded and replied, indeed, I do have other intentions. I hope you can join forces with us and attack the Imperial Palace of the Cloud Zurge Empire. Only like that will you be able to kill the golden-striped silver snake. What? You want to attack the Imperial Palace of the Cloud Zurge Empire? Jian Shen was surprised. The Cloud Zurge Empire was the greatest organization on the Delight Plane. They were so powerful that even if all the peak organizations on the plane banded together, they still would not be able to put up a fight. This was all because the Cloud Zurge Empire possessed an invincible figure who could sweep through the entire plane, the Rain Abyss. The Cloud Zurge Empire possesses something Master needs, as well as something to reconstruct my body. We would attack the Cloud Zurge Empire sooner or later. Moreover, the Rain Abyss has an innate orchid of 5 elements planted where she cultivates. It possesses the innate powers of the 5 elements: metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. Moreover, the innate orchid of 5 elements comes from a Xianhuang microcosm, so it possesses Xianhuang qi. It contains the fortune of the universe. Qingming stared at Jian Shen deeply and said, you must know that Shaoling suffers from some defects due to innate problems. This innate orchid of 5 elements with Xianhuang qi might be able to make up for these defects. Moreover, Shao Jin is a spirit of metal, so the innate orchid of 5 elements will greatly benefit Shao Jin as well. It can encourage him to evolve and take a qualitative leap. Will Senior Mo Tianyun take action? Jian Shen asked eagerly. They both belonged to the immortals' world. Consequently, not only did he respect Mo Tianyun, but he also treated him as someone from the same homeland. He felt a sense of familiarity for some reason. Qingming shook his head. Master has even more important matters to attend to, so he won't take action. Also, all the Grand Primes of the Cloud Zurge Empire have left the Delight Plane due to matters they need to attend to, so not a single Grand Prime is currently watching over the Cloud Zurge Plane. We only need your 5th heavenly layer chaotic prime to take action, and we can attack the Imperial Palace. The protective formation in the Imperial Palace was personally cast down by the Rain Abyss. It's known as the formation of Cloud Surge and Rain Flood, but you don't need to worry about it. As long as it's not a Grand Prime hosting the formation, it won't be able to threaten us with the great treasure Master has left behind. And once the formation is activated, the entire space will be sealed up. Regardless of the golden-striped silver snake's proficiency at fleeing, he definitely won't be able to break out of the formation cast down by the Rain Abyss. At that time, he'll be a sitting duck with nowhere to run. Killing him will be a piece of cake. Chapter 2538, Meeting Xiao Jin and Xiao Ling again. Launching an attack on the Imperial Palace of the Cloud Surge Empire will take quite some time. What if the Rain Abyss suddenly returns? We have no one who can handle the Rain Abyss on our side, Jian Chen stated his worry. After all, this was a significant matter. They would be directly attacking the imperial capital of the Cloud Surge Empire. They would develop irreconcilable grievances as a result and completely offend the Rain Abyss. You don't need to worry about that. Since we're bold enough to attack their imperial capital, we have obviously made sufficient preparations to deal with any sudden changes to the situation. Qingming guaranteed like success was within his grasp. Originally, our Empyrean demon cult planned on attacking the Cloud Surge Empire a month later because we're currently weaker in terms of chaotic primes. We needed some more preparation to guarantee complete success. But now that you're here, we can launch the attack early. Of course, there's no need for you to give me your reply immediately. You can tell me your decision in 3 days' time. You should go see Xiao Ling and Xiao Jin now. They've returned. With that, Qingming used the power of the Divine Hall to send Jian Chen back to the hall he was in earlier. The protectors of the Tian Yuan clan continued to wait there quietly, but their unease was clearly depicted on their faces. However, Jian Chen ignored them. His gaze was already locked onto the 2 extra figures that had appeared. The 2 figures consisted of a male and a female. The female seemed like a child. She only seemed to be 12 or 13. She was wearing a white dress, and her pretty face was filled with purity. She seemed slightly immature. With a single glance, it was possible to tell that she was a little girl who had not matured yet. The male seemed to be 17 or 18. Although he did not seem old, he possessed a presence of slaughter that completely did not match his age. A heavy smell of blood seemed to waft from him. He seemed like a merciless god of slaughter who had just retreated from a corpse-ridden battlefield. It seemed like he had bathed in the blood of countless enemies in the past. The 2 of them were Xiao Jin and Xiao Ling, big brother. Xiao Ling's eyes immediately reddened when she saw Jian Chen. She called out in complete joy and surprise and hugged Jian Chen tightly. Xiao Ling, I've finally found you. Have you been well in the past few years? Jian Chen smiled and asked sincerely and softly. He rubbed Xiao Ling's head gently. Several decades had passed, but Xiao Ling had not changed at all. Her mental state remained the same as before. Brother, Xiao Jin said. He looked at Jian Chen in delight. After several decades, Xiao Jin had changed drastically. Both his strength and mental state were no longer the same as before. Now, he wore golden armor with his long, golden hair let down. He was wrapped up in a presence of slaughter and a bloody smell. Who knows how much blood he had been doused with and how many tests of life and death he had gone through. He seemed like a miniature god of slaughter. Xiao Jin, you've grown. Jian Chen stared at Xiao Jin deeply. He was glad. From Xiao Jin's presence alone, Jian Chen discovered that he had truly become someone who could hold up responsibilities. He was no longer the ignorant little boy from before. I never thought you would become a god king so fast, and a mid-god king at that. Jian Chen saw through Xiao Jin's strength with a single glance and was left amazed. Xiao Jin's rate of growth had really surprised him. Brother, I only have these accomplishments because of Grandpa Cheng. It was Grandpa Cheng who used many resources to nurture me, which was why I was able to become a mid-god king in such a short amount of time," said Xiao Jin. His voice was filled with respect towards his grandpa Cheng. However, Xiao Jin seemed to think of something soon afterwards. He was gloomy as he sighed and said, "It's just a pity that it's extremely difficult to increase Sister Xiao Ling's strength. Otherwise, she would be a god king like me or even far beyond that. Hee, I don't want to become a god king at all. Cultivation is so boring. There's Grandpa Cheng and Master protecting me in the Empyrean demon cult anyway, and Big Brother to protect me outside. Moreover, Brother Xiao Jin has become so powerful. In the future, he can protect me. I would like to see who would bully me." "Humph." Xiao Ling stuck out her tongue and said mischievously. She was truly pure and innocent, without any worries. Looking at how Xiao Ling did not care, Xiao Jin remained silent. He had truly grown now, so he was able to see the full side of things. He understood that the only way to survive in this world was through immense personal strength. This was the absolute law. Others could protect you temporarily, but it would be very difficult for them to do so forever. Jian Chen looked at Xiao Ling silently. Obviously, he knew why Xiao Ling struggled to increase her strength. It was because she was incomplete. She suffered from innate defections, which prevented her mind from maturing. She remained like a 12-year-old even after so much time. It was relatively easier for Xiao Ling's strength to increase below godhood, as there is no need to comprehend the laws of the world at such a level. At the same time, Xiao Ling was a natural spirit, so she was born at the origin realm. She basically did not have to spend any time cultivating, so the effects from her defects were not particularly severe. However, after reaching godhood, the comprehension of the laws of the world was required for each level of cultivation. Xiao Ling's limited thinking capacity obviously became her greatest restraint. "Xiao Ling, I will definitely fix your defections," Jian Chen secretly swore to himself. In the blink of an eye, 3 days passed. Jian Chen met up with Grand Elder Qingming again and agreed to work with the Empyrean demon cult to attack the imperial capital of the Cloud Zerg Empire. Qingming was not surprised by this at all. He immediately passed down an order. "All right then. Since that's the case, let's move right now. Cloud Demon, Wind Demon, Blood Demon, Blade Demon, are you present?" Greetings to the Grand Elder. 4 figures silently appeared from the darkness. All of their presences were tremendous, possessing terrifying strength. The 4 of them were the 4 generals of the Empyrean demon cult. Originally, the Empyrean demon cult had 5 generals. One of them died at the hands of the heavenless demon Exalt when he went to the cloud plane with the Grand Elder, so only 4 of them remained. Jian Chen's eyes narrowed. He could tell with a single glance that the 4 of them were all chaotic primes. However, all of them showed great respect towards Qingming. "Pass down my orders. Set off with the army as soon as possible and begin the attack on the Cloud Zerg Empire," the Grand Elder called out. "Yes, Grand Elder." Chapter 2539. The Army of Death. The Grand Elder's orders soon reached the various leaders in the Empyrean demon cult. Immediately, demonic aura surged from various places within the Divine Hall, and powerful energy pulsed. The attack on the Cloud Zerg Empire was a grand operation that the Empyrean demon cult had planned for a very long time. They had always been gathering soldiers across the years. As a result, over 80% of the Empyrean demon cult's forces were gathered in the branch. Now that they all showed themselves, it formed an earth-shaking sight. The terrifying presences cascaded together, and it was to the point where even the Divine Hall failed to keep it concealed. It began expanding outwards. There were heavy, evil presences of death among these presences. They were especially powerful. The heavy sense of death they gave off was enough to send chills down the spines of primordial realm experts. What's happening? Why have so many powerful presences suddenly appeared? What is the Empyrean demon cult doing? This presence of death seems to be able to devour all life. Just sensing the presence makes my life force surge in an attempt to leave my body. The expressions of the protectors from the Tian Yuan clan all changed as they shivered. All of them became restless. Su Ran became stern as well. Her eyes became extremely deep as they shone like two streaks of light. She directly looked in the direction of the presence. She thought to herself, does this presence come the army that is rumored to be the most terrifying in the Empyrean demon cult, the army of death? Suddenly, everyone felt the divine hall they stood in shake. The dark divine hall suddenly took to the skies. It turned into a streak of black light, and with a swish, it shot through space and vanished. It moved extremely quickly. Meanwhile, the black-robed old man that the golden-striped silver snake had transformed into had invited over a few fellow subjects in the imperial palace of the Cloud Surge Empire. They had gathered in a luxurious hall. His name was Tian Sheng, and he was well established in the Cloud Surge Empire. He was on good terms with most of the subjects in the Cloud Surge Empire. Tian Sheng had been heavily wounded by Su Ran. His body had been cut in half. Even though he had reconnected the two parts, wounds still lingered, and he needed several years to make a full recovery. As a result, he seemed pale-faced and haggard at the moment. He was sickly. The Tian Yuan clan of the Cloud Plain is far too bold. They've actually come to our Delight Plain to make trouble. Not only did they make trouble, but they were even so arrogant about it. They actually injured a subject of our Cloud Surge Empire. That's like a slap to our empire's face. That's a huge provocation of our empire. We have to make them pay a heavy price. We should pass down orders immediately to seal up the teleportation formations so that they can't leave the Delight Plain. Once the Rain Abbess and everyone else returns, we will report it to her. We will kill our way onto the Cloud Plain and destroy the Tian Yuan clan. We will demonstrate the strength of our Cloud Surge Empire to everyone on the Delight Plain. Tian Sheng, lead the way. We'll destroy them together. After learning about what Tian Sheng went through, the four subjects gathered present were all furious. They spoke righteously as they gave off powerful presences. As the greatest organization on the Delight Plain, only chaotic primes had the right to hold the position of subject of the empire. There's an extremely powerful old woman among them. She's a fifth heavenly layer chaotic prime at the very least. We're barely enough to deal with her. Tian Shan shook his head gently. Even though there were 5 chaotic primes gathered here, their cultivation levels were the same as his. They were all early chaotic primes, so there was still a difference between them and Su Ran. At this moment, the door was pushed open, and a man in red armor walked in. He gave off a fiery presence. With his entry, the temperature in the entire hall rapidly rose. So what if she's a 5th heavenly layer chaotic prime? Since she's bold enough to infringe on our Cloud Surge plane, we can't let them leave the Delight Plane alive, said the armored man coldly and emotionlessly. Jin Yen, why do you come? Tian Sheng beamed with the man's appearance. He immediately stood up to receive him with all the other subjects. They showed great respect. Jin Yen was an extremely powerful subject within the Cloud Surge Empire. He was a 6th heavenly layer chaotic prime. Tian Sheng, once you find them, I'll kill them all, Jin Yen said coldly and powerfully. With brother Jin Yen taking action personally, the people from the Tian Yuan clan of the Cloud Plain will obviously be done for. Tian Sheng laughed aloud and immediately left with the subjects in an aggressive manner. At the same time, the space near a fortress on the boundary of the Cloud Surge Empire suddenly trembled. A black streak of light shot over with pulsing energy and unbelievable speed, straight into the Empire. The black streak of light was a colossal divine hall. However, it was simply too fast, so people failed to even see its appearance. As a result, it just seemed like a streak of black light that vanished with a flash. The fortress of the Empire was naturally protected by powerful formations. The formations reacted as soon as they sensed the approach of the divine hall. They completely activated and bright light enveloped the fortress. Boom! With a deafening rumble, the black divine hall directly collided with the formations. The formations immediately collapsed, reduced to nothing by the towering walls of the divine hall. Many of the soldiers and cultivators who flowed in and out suffered as casualties, dying to the terrifying energy. The Black Divine Hall paused before speeding up once again, charging right into the Cloud Zerg Empire. The Empyrean demon cult openly attacked the Cloud Zerg Empire, without any attempt at concealment, as there was no need for them to be sneaky given their influence. It's the demonic castle of the Empyrean demon cult. It's the demonic castle. A bloodied old man hovered within the surging energy. He was the general stationed there and was an infinite prime. He had been heavily injured by the powerful energy. He looked in the direction that the Black Divine Hall had traveled off, and he could sense that something bad was about to happen. He became extremely stern. The current emperor of the Cloud Zerg Empire, Yizhan, was in the imperial study. He was dealing with the major matters of the empire. Suddenly, the imperial seal he had placed on his table shone with dazzling light. Yizhan's expression immediately changed slightly. He became fixated on the imperial seal and became stern. The imperial seal was not just for inheriting the position of emperor. It was also the core control for the formation of Cloud Zerg and Rainflood for the empire. The formation was extremely powerful. It had been cast down by the greatest expert of the Delight Plane, the Rain Abyss. Aside from the Rain Abyss, everyone else needed to use the Imperial Seal to control the formation. The Imperial Seal was the core of the formation, having fused with it. If anything happened to the formation, he could check through the Imperial Seal. Something major has happened in the Empire. The Imperial Seal has sent a warning. Yizhan said sternly. He suddenly pressed his hand onto the Imperial Seal and controlled the entire formation through it to check what was happening. The Empyrean Demon Cult. It's actually the Empyrean Demon Cult. Yizhan cried out. He became extremely solemn. All the peak experts of the Cloud Zerg Empire had left with the Rain Abyss. The strongest people in the Empire right now were only chaotic primes. The Empyrean Demon Cult had attacked right when they were weak, which gave him an ill omen. At the same time, the armored Jin Yen and the 4 other subjects left the imperial city with Tian Shang. They were planning to exact revenge on Jian Chen and the others. Strange. I actually can't sense the venom I left in that person. Tian Shan frowned outside the imperial city. However, at this moment, a streak of black light shot over with unbelievable speed. Space shifted and distorted wherever it passed by. The powerful pulses of energy directly produced pitch-black cracks in space. You're tuning into the Biyao's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.